Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Great Voyage. Let you play cubes, you dig through the upside-down mountain. Chapter 21. Jolin is not very persistent in finding Nico Robin. The reason why the Revolutionary Army is looking for Nico Robin is entirely because Nico Robin is the only survivor of O'Hara and can be used as the light of the revolution. And Nico Robin is the only one who can read the text of the history. Drago may also know some secrets, and hopes that Nico Robin can decipher the correct history. But Jolin is not very optimistic about the historical truth 800 years ago. People will not rebel because of history, but because they are exploited and oppressed. History may just give the rebellion a legitimate title. The reason why Jolin chose to go to West Blue was really because of gangsters, especially the godfather of gangsters, Capone Bege. Now I don't know if Capone Bege has already eaten the fruit of the fortress. It would be best if he had eaten it, so that he would save the trouble of looking for it. The strong city fruit is a very good devil fruit, especially for the Revolutionary Army who wants to revolt. The fruit-capable person is equivalent to a mobile castle, and can carry a lot of supplies and soldiers with him. Just imagine, if the Revolutionary Army wants to break through a city in a country, it must not be easy to attack from the outside, and it may also suffer heavy losses. But if the army weapons are all hidden in the body of the strong city fruit ability user, and the ability user is allowed to enter the city pretending to be an ordinary person, and the army suddenly rushes out, wouldn't it be easy to take the city down? Yes, this is the so-called Trojan horse trick. It is the smoothest to play this trick with acacia fruit. However, Jolin didn't tell Drago about this idea, because it's still a secret that he can take the fruit of the ability user. Even if Drago has guessed something, as long as Jolin doesn't say it, Drago won't know. The less people know about this kind of thing, the better. Soon, Drago summarized West Blue's information to Jolin. Jolin thought silently in his heart, but he didn't act rashly, but planned to rest for a while before talking. At this time, North Blue was lively again. Doflamingo has increased the bounty on Jolin in the underground world, with the bounty reaching 500 million Baileys. It is still just a photo of the masked man, but with the name, Rocks, added. Unexpectedly, Doflamingo didn't even check it, and just offered a reward like this. Garp and Crane Vice Admiral learned about this as soon as they returned to Marineford, and they immediately looked at Kong and Sengoku in silence. But they were probably thinking, Doflamingo is such a fool. Although the name Rocks has been around for a long time, and it has been deliberately erased by the world government, but with Doflamingo's connections, it must be possible to find some. But this guy didn't even check it, probably because his mind was filled with anger and he became unintelligent. Whitebeard, Big Mom and Kaido, who also saw the underground reward order, were speechless for a while. They really didn't expect to see the old captain's name in this way. For a moment, the three of them had an impression of Doflamingo, a fool. However, there are more uninformed people in the sea, and everyone is talking about the name Rocks, and even surprised the world government. Senior officials of the world government jumped out and strongly demanded that this underground bounty be withdrawn. In the end, even the 5 elders personally contacted Doflamingo, requesting that the bounty be withdrawn and that the name Rocks should not appear again. This made Doflamingo very depressed, so he quickly made an in-depth investigation, only to discover part of the truth about the great pirate whose name was erased more than 40 years ago. Doflamingo realized he had been played. Thinking of the scene of him yelling at Rocks alone in front of the sea that night, he became even more murderous, and his hatred for Jolin reached the sky. But at this time, Jolin was already on his way to West Blue. Originally, Jolin wanted to fly directly over the Calm Belt and New World, but he gave up immediately after some analysis. Flying over the Calm Belt is nothing, but it is different in New World, where extreme weather is everywhere. If you fly high, you may be struck by lightning, and if you fly low, you may be hit by waves. It's really scary to think about it. Plus, New World has too many monsters. Don't talk about others, just say that Kaido, who is drunk all day and flies around looking for a place to commit suicide, will definitely be unlucky if he meets him. So just to be on the safe side, Jolin still took a cautious detour, still flying towards the reversing mountain. After all, the road is familiar there. When we got near Reverse Mountain, we found many patrolling warships. Jolin can think of why, but it is because the inverted mountain was dug through once, making the East Blue, West Blue and Grand Line completely connected, which caused an uneasy situation for the 3C areas. In order to prevent cube fruit users from digging through the upside-down mountain on the North Blue side, Marine can only send warships to patrol. I guess the same goes for South Blue. But reversing mountain is not small here. It is impossible for sailors to stare at one place all the time, and they are especially easy to be exploited. No, just after a warship left, Jolin arrived at the foot of the mountain quietly. The fruit ability was activated, and immediately dug a hole at the foot of the mountain, sealing himself in the hole. Then naturally dig without scruples. The cubic fruit-making cubes didn't make much movement, and was basically covered by the sound of the waves, so it was difficult for the sailors to find out. Jolin didn't immediately open the hole on North Blue's side, but dug the hole in the mountain first, and then put a bunch of air cubes on the wall of the cave, and then detonated the air cube to blast a hole. It was too late when Marine found out. Jolin found that he was particularly keen on digging holes, perhaps due to the sequelae of playing too much MC. But watching the large rocks turned into cubes and collected by myself, and I can use these cubes to build my own island in the future, I can't help feeling happy. So digging harder. I don't know how long it took, but the rock in front suddenly became empty, followed by seawater rushing into the cave. This really startled Jolin, and quickly flew up on the cube. After a closer look, I found that the forks in the caves of East Blue, West Blue and Grand Line were dug. This is too coincidental. That is to say, from now on, North Blue has also joined the connecting route, and now the hole on the South Blue side will be open to completely connect the 5C areas. Just think about it. Can't help being excited. Jolin subconsciously looked in the direction of South Blue, but quickly suppressed this thought. It's better to go to West Blue first, and then dig the South Blue cave later. After all, it is the last joy of Upside Down Mountain, so there is no need to worry too much. Thinking of this, Jolin immediately snapped his fingers. The air cubes that had been stacked under the cave wall exploded immediately, blasting North Blue's Upside Down Mountain into a huge hole in an instant. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Sengoku was worrying about his adopted son. A phone call came over suddenly, and the news made Sengoku very angry. Nani, the Upside Down Mountain on the North Blue side has also been dug through, and it is also connected to the fork in the previous cave. How did you patrol, and how did someone dig the hole right under your nose? Sengoku cursed. But fortunately, it's not too difficult. After all, the Marines stationed all over the world are generally weaker. With the strength of the cube fruit ability user, he will definitely be able to quietly avoid the patrolling warships, and then dig in the Upside Down Mountain without Marine noticing. According to the news reported by the phone bug, the cubic fruit ability user is very cunning. It seems that the hole was dug quietly first, and then the hole was suddenly blown open. By the time Marine reacted, it was already too late. Sengoku felt that even if the same news came from South Blue now, he would not be surprised, because this cubic fruit ability user seems to be very obsessed with digging upside down mountains. Only in that way, the barrier between 4Cs and Grand Line will be gone. Although Marine can guard several cave entrances, it can't really stop the pirates, just like when the Red Hair pirates suddenly wanted to go to the cave to East Blue, Captain Ryan, who was in charge of guarding, failed to stop them. The Red Hair pirates are so powerful that no one can stop them unless Marine Vice Admiral is sent to guard them personally. However, how could such an important force as Marine Vice Admiral be sent to guard the entrance of the cave? The more Sengoku thought about it, the more he had a headache, and then he naturally blamed the cubic fruit ability user. After all, this guy did all these things. But Sengoku harbored a tinge of gratitude. Because Garp would go to Mignon Island before, it was entirely because he guessed that the cubic fruit ability user would also appear, so he went there to guard. If Garp hadn't gone, the foster son Rocinante would have died. At that time, Rocinante was shot several times and was seriously injured, and Doflamingo also went to the island. Fortunately, Garp took Rocinante away in time, otherwise Rocinante would be killed by Doflamingo even if he was not seriously injured and died. That man Doflamingo could even kill his own father, let alone an undercover younger brother. Fortunately, Rocinante is still alive, otherwise Sengoku must blame himself for life. Therefore, this cubic fruit ability user is more or less kind to Rocinante. Sengoku also acknowledges his affection. However, this cannot be a reason for Sengoku to let this person go. This guy is now unknown, his purpose is unknown, and he is making troubles everywhere. It seems that he is disobedient. In the future, even if you are not a pirate, you will become a criminal. So in the future, it must be the target of Marine's pursuit. The only thing Sengoku can do is to try to spare his life after he is caught in the future, or to arrange a more comfortable cell, which can be regarded as the best of humanity. However, for such a big event as digging upside down mountain, you must let your superiors know. So Sengoku reported the matter to Kong, and Kong was stunned for a while, and it took a long time to react. He felt that he could not understand the thoughts of young people now. How can anyone go to dig the mountain all day long with nothing to do, and what they are digging is the inverted mountain? Is this because they are determined to dig the inverted mountain into an ant nest? With this energy, you can either become a marine, or become a pirate to find the big secret treasure. Doesn't this just make people speechless? And Garp couldn't help laughing when he heard about this. Although he couldn't understand what Cube Kid was thinking, it didn't prevent him from finding Cube Kid funny. As for the other marine executives, except for Akainu who was still yelling, the corners of their mouths twitched. Strange things happen every year, and these 2 years have been the most weird things. Marshall, what should we think about this cubic fruit ability user? Should we issue a reward order? Sengoku still left the matter to Kong to decide. Then offer a reward. Kong made a decision. It's not a small matter to dig through the upside-down mountain. After all, the upside-down mountain is a part of the Red Line, and the Red Line is the property of the Celestial Dragons and the world government. He is messing with the world government, so he is naturally counted as a criminal. So, how much reward is appropriate? Is it like the underground world offering a reward of 500 million Baileys? Well, it doesn't take that much, just 50 million Pele, were not Doflamingo. When Doflamingo was mentioned, the insiders couldn't help but laugh. The Bounty Rocks made a big joke before, and it is estimated that Rock's coffin board can't hold it down. I don't know if the 3 old crew members of Rock's Pirate, Whitebeard, Big Mom and Kaido will have any objections to Doflamingo. But what is certain is that Doflamingo can be regarded as being bullied miserably by cube fruit ability users. However, this cubic fruit ability user is an unstable factor after all. From the time this guy appeared until now, even the CP organization has not been able to investigate the real identity of this person, not to mention his appearance, even his name. I don't know who this guy is, and he hides it so deeply. Not long after, Joe Lin's reward order was issued, and Marine gave him a nickname, Cube Kid. This nickname was chosen by Garp. It was called that way in Mignon Island before, and it is also convenient to call it. Otherwise, it would be too mouthwatering to always call it cubic fruit ability. Along with the reward order, there was also the news that the North Blue Upside Down Mountain had been opened. This naturally adds another fun to the sea. Many people have speculated that the next step of this cube boy must be to dig the Upside Down Mountain on the South Blue side, so that he can completely open up the 4 seas and the first half of the Grand Line. Some people guess that Cube Boy will take the opportunity to open up the 2 sea areas before and after the Grand Line. In this way, you can reach the end of New World directly from the 4 seas, and you don't need to walk around to pass the Fishmen Island, and you will be closer to Raftel. At this point in the discussion, many people are hoping that Cube Kid will do the same. After all, who wouldn't want to find Raftel fast? Not everyone wants to go around the Grand Line to get to Raftel, but wants to reach the sky in one step. If you can go directly to Raftel from all over the world, why not? Perhaps Marine was also worried that such a thing would happen, so as public opinion fermented, he subconsciously strengthened the guards of Reversing Mountain. As a result, many pirates who wanted to go to the Grand Line could only stay still for a while, scolding Cube Boy in their hearts. You're messing things up so the pirates can't even go to the Grand Line. At this time, a certain sea area in East Blue. A boat in the shape of a fish is moored quietly. On the boat, a little boy with blonde hair and curly eyebrows was also reading the newspaper, and then suddenly yelled, "Master Zapu! It's bad. Upside Down Mountain is going to turn into a blue ocean." Jep, who was peeling potatoes with a twisted mustache, raised his wooden prosthetic leg and sent the little boy flying. Sanji, work hard, don't talk nonsense. How can you turn a mountain into a blue ocean? Zapu cursed. How is it impossible? The little boy Sanji argued. The blue sea has all the fishes in the sea area, it is our chef's paradise. Now the cave on the south blue side is not pierced. After the south blue is also connected, the fishes in the four seas and the Grand Line Sea area, they will definitely appear on the reversing mountain. Won't the reversing mountain become a blue ocean? Zap. It seemed to make sense, but I was speechless for a while. Zapu went out to sea to find the blue sea, but after he broke his leg to save Sanji, he buried this dream in his heart. Unexpectedly, this cube kid is so talented, he directly created a blue ocean here in reversing mountain. As Sanji said, after the South Blue Cave is also opened, Upside Down Mountain will become another chef's paradise. Such a thing is really unthinkable. And even if someone thought of it, no one can do it, and now this cube kid is about to do it. It's just short of South Blue. Zapu couldn't help being excited when he thought of this. He didn't expect his dream to come true in this way. He really couldn't wait. I hope Cube Kid will do it soon. However, it does not prevent him from fishing in the Upside Down Mountain. The fish swimming from West Blue, North Blue and Grand Line are also very rich. It's just that he was so stunned by Sanji that he couldn't speak. As a chef, he must save his face. So, Zapu kicked Sanji away again. What are we chefs? You are not even qualified to be an apprentice, and you dare to call yourself a chef, it makes people laugh. ... Also East Blue, Windmill Village. The red hair pirates are staying here, and the red-haired Shanks is drinking wine while talking and laughing with the young and beautiful female boss Makino, showing his handsome gentleman side. Makino just smiled back gently and generously, wondering if he has taken a fancy to this guy. The crew of the red hair pirates also ate meat and drank, and the precious rubber fruit was packed in a box and thrown on the counter. And the protagonist of this world, Wong Luffy, is drinking fruit juice angrily at this time, obviously being teased by the red hair just now. At this moment, the small sliding door of the hotel was kicked away, and the famous thief King Seat appeared on the stage. ... Green-haired Zoro is still challenging Kuina, Nami is trying to learn how to draw a sea chart, and Chopper is messing around with quack doctors. The worst thing is Usopp, his mother has died of illness, he also started the deception game, and his father Usopp returned to East Blue but did not come home to see him. Jolin naturally doesn't know what the protagonists who are still children are doing, and he doesn't care about it. After he blasted the North Blue Cave entrance, he flew directly from the cave to West Blue, and he flew out of the West Blue Upside Down Cave entrance under Marine's nose. No one can stop him at all. And because he put on the mask in advance, no one saw his appearance. This incident was naturally reported by the sailors, and all parties concerned about Cube Boy's whereabouts naturally knew about it. Although Doflamingo was angry, he couldn't reach West Blue for the time being, so he could only contact the gangsters of West Blue to do it. Sengoku, on the other hand, began to pay attention to West Blue, lest Cube Boy would do something big again. However, Jolin's behavior is relatively low-key. After sneaking into a town quietly, he didn't plan to use his abilities for the time being. However, West Blue is still relatively chaotic. There are gangsters almost everywhere, and sometimes fighting is inevitable. So Jolin went to buy a knife and pretended to be a swordsman. It just so happens that after absorbing Pika's swordsmanship, he has never used it. Of course, Jolin still tried to avoid being involved in the battle for the time being. He came to West Blue mainly to find Capone Bege. Before he found Capone Bege, he didn't want to have any exposure. According to the information given by Dorag, Jolin quickly locked the location of the Capone family. Capone Bege started working hard very early, and is now in his 30s, and has established the Capone family by virtue of his strong strength and ruthless methods. However, there are too many gangsters in West Blue, and it is not easy to unify the underground world of West Blue. In the original book, Capone Bege did successfully unify the underground world of West Blue, and then claimed to be the godfather, becoming the only boss of the underworld in West Blue. But then I lost interest in land, so I decided to go to the Grand Line. But that was all 11 years later. Now the Capone family is fighting with the big gangs, and the situation is not very good. It seems that Capone Bege needs to be involved in many cases. In other words, Capone Bege has already eaten the fruit of the city. That's good, watch me find you and turn you into a cube. Zhou Lin showed a smile, but quickly made up his mind quietly. He is similar to other ordinary people, and no one knows him, so naturally he is not afraid of being targeted, let alone revealing his identity. After a few days, the CP organization, Marine intelligence agents, and gang intelligence agents were all in a daze, because they couldn't find any information about Cube Boy, as if that guy never came to West Blue at all. Some even think that Cube Kid did it on purpose. Flying out of West Blue's upside-down cave was just to confuse people, and then it must have flown to other sea areas, otherwise there would be no hairs. Thinking about it this way, it seems reasonable, after all, that guy can fly. Then, the intelligence officers subconsciously slacked off. And without anyone noticing, Zhou Lin has arrived at a small island called Grapetown by boat. Grapetown is just an obscure town. As the name suggests, the town mainly produces grapes and supplies wine to gangsters. And the gangster controlling Grapetown is naturally the Capone family. Zhou Lin chose this place because it was the closest to the Capone family. A dozen nautical miles to the east of Grapetown is Capone Island, which is named after the Capone family entrenched on the island. Today, Capone Bege should be on Capone Island. But Zhou Lin did not act rashly. His target is not only Capone Bege, but also the arms and supplies of the Capone family. It's a rare trip. Just taking the fruits of Capone Bege is not worth it. Naturally, the assets of the Capone family cannot be let go. Once these assets are in hand, they will definitely be enough for the Revolutionary Army to operate for a long time. Therefore, what Zhou Lin has to do now is to wait for the opportunity. It's just that Grapetown is too close to Capone Island after all, so the Capone family's inspection of Grapetown is also very strict. No, Zhou Lin was stopped by gangsters as soon as he entered the town. The gangsters were all wearing black suits and holding bright knives and guns in their hands. Ordinary people dared not resist at all. Zhou Lin immediately grabbed the handle of the knife, his face full of vigilance. The leader shouted, "You better not do anything, this is the territory of the Capone family. If you dare to be an enemy of the Capone family, you will not be able to leave this town." Zhou Lin didn't hesitate at all. "I'm just here to buy a bottle of wine, what are you doing?" "What are you doing? Any stranger who comes here will be subject to our interrogation. Who knows if you are a killer? Be obedient and don't resist, or we won't care about your life or death." "HMPH. It's really domineering," Zhou Lin said, "but let go of the hand holding the handle of the knife. If you have any questions, please ask quickly, don't delay my uncle's purchase of wine." Seeing that Zhou Lin had a bad attitude, the leader immediately became angry. "It seems that you refuse to cooperate with the interrogation, so don't blame us for being rude. Brothers, take it down." Then, the group of guys in black suits immediately surrounded Zhou Lin. All of them looked murderous. Zhou Lin couldn't help rolling his eyes. He didn't cooperate. He let go of the handle of the knife, waiting for these guys to question him. In the end, the leader was a good guy. He would do it without even asking. Do you think he is easy to bully? Originally, Zhou Lin wanted to deal with the interrogation, and then investigate the situation on Capone Island. Now it seems that there is no need for that. Go straight in. So, he held the handle of the knife again, and then suddenly jumped forward, and he was already behind the leader. And the knife in his hand had been pulled out at some point, and blood was still flowing on the blade. Puff! The head of the leader soared into the sky. Can't die anymore. This scene was really horrifying, and immediately scared the people in the town to run away, and the shops closed quickly, and the skillful movements made people feel distressed. It seems that the people here are used to the gang fights. The other men in black suits were stunned for a moment, and then became angry the next second. They pointed their guns at Zhou Lin and pulled the trigger. However, Zhou Lin dodged quickly, and none of the bullets could hit him. Although he has not yet awakened observation hockey, the gun technology in this world is relatively backward, and the speed of the bullets is impressive. As long as you pay more attention, you can easily dodge it. And not only to hide, but also to fight back. Seeing the knife in Zhou Lin's hand waving quickly, the gangsters fell to the ground one after another. Pika's swordsmanship is not very good, but it is a proper killing swordsmanship. It pays attention to a rough and fast, and it is unambiguous to kill with a knife. It will not be stressful to deal with a group of black people who don't have much strength. Not long after, the black suit was almost killed, and the others immediately turned around and fled. Jolin calmly shook off the blood on the knife, put the knife back into the scabbard, and then slowly chased after him. However, he had just taken 2 steps, but he paused slightly, and subconsciously glanced behind him, but he didn't care too much, but continued to chase. Anyway, he was going to kill Capone Island today. After waiting for Jolin to leave, a graceful girl with long straight black appeared quietly. The black long straight girl first made sure that she was out of danger, and then walked out, holding a bag of long bread in her arms, and soon found a room and opened the door to enter. As soon as the door was closed, the black long straight girl dared to wipe the cold sweat from her forehead. The gang fights are getting more and more fierce. It's inconvenient to stay in West Blue. It's time to go to the Grand Line. I don't know if there will be a historical text there. At this time, Jolin had already chased to the pier, boarded a sailboat and continued to chase. And Capone Bege, who was on Capone Island, naturally also received the news, and immediately called his men to prepare to meet the enemy, just in case a team of troops entered his strong city. Even if there is only one person on the other side, Capone Bege dare not be careless. He deeply knows how terrifying the monsters in this world are, and he should not underestimate anyone. If one is not good, it is very likely to be wiped out by one person. Then his years of hard work will be in vain. Before long, those black suits who were being chased back to Capone Island by boat. Immediately afterwards, Jolin's boat arrived. Capone Bege arrived at the coast, looked at the murderous Jolin, and guessed who sent Jolin as the killer. After all, those opponents always wanted his life. But after thinking about it, I feel that it doesn't matter, as long as the person is killed. Those opponents will be wiped out sooner or later, and that's when he, Capone Bege, will become the underground king of West Blue. Fire! Sink him! Capone Bege gave the order, and his men immediately fired the loaded cannons. Boom! 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 Cannonballs flew towards the boat one by one. Jolin was not surprised when he saw this. Capone Bege was too cautious. Even if he faced only one person, he still wanted to bombard him. No wonder he could unify the West Blue gang in the future. But now is not the time for emotion. Jolin drew out his knife again, and slashed at the flying shells. With a pop, a cannonball was cut in half, and the 2 pieces of the cannonball flew past the sides before exploding. The cannons in this world seem to be smoothbore artillery, which need to be loaded from the muzzle and fired with a match, which can be said to be very backward. Not only the speed is touching, but the accuracy is extremely low. Some shells are old-fashioned big iron balls, while others are iron ball shells filled with gunpowder like Capone Island. In comparison, the latter is naturally more lethal, but the cost is also high. Moreover, this kind of iron ball cannonball is easily cut by the swordsman, and the blow caused by it is not as good as the big iron ball. This made Jolin couldn't help but doubt the value of the arms. It's just that the setting of the firearms in One Piece world is very confusing. Some weak people can't be killed by bombs, but some strong people can be killed with pistols. For a while, people don't know how to express their depressed emotions. It can only be said that those strong men who were killed by guns died very unjustly. But those were not things that Jolin should consider. While steering the small sailboat forward, he chopped off the flying shells, and he approached the coast not long after. Now Capone Bege panicked. Obviously, the strength of this killer exceeded his imagination. So he immediately ordered, all the people who use them take their weapons and give them to me, and shoot him to death with knives and guns. The members of the Capone family immediately echoed loudly, and the moment Jolin landed on the island, they immediately rushed up with a murderous look, shooting guns and swinging knives, not at all afraid of hurting their own people. This kind of desperate ferocity is afraid that it will scare ordinary people. But Jolin was not scared. While dodging the flying bullets, he swung a long knife and harvested lives. There is not a single good person in the Capone gang. In order to grab the territory, these people have contaminated a lot of lives, so death is not a pity, and Jolin has no mercy. However, Jolin still pays attention not to use the fruit ability. He doesn't want to expose the fact that he is a cubic fruit capable user for the time being, otherwise it will be difficult to make troubles around in the future. Fortunately, the Capone family can be completely wiped out with swordsmanship, so there is no need to panic. What you have to do now is to become familiar with swordsmanship in the fight and increase your combat experience. Puff, puff, puff. Relying on a knife, Zhou Lin fought in and out of a group of black suits like he was in no man's land. Not long after, the black suits that fell to the ground covered the shore, and the blood on the shore turned the seawater scarlet. Capone Bege was terrified, and immediately shouted loudly, "Your Excellency is so powerful. I don't care who sent you, I am willing to pay twice the commission, please stop here, how about it?" Zhou Lin immediately replied, "Give me the fortress fruit, and I'll leave immediately." Capone Bege's face froze immediately, and murderous aura rushed straight to his forehead. It seems that the other party is determined to kill him, he has eaten the fruit of the strong city, how to give it out? That being the case, then fight with the opponent. Get out of the way. Capone Bege shouted, and rushed directly opposite Zhou Lin. Zhou Lin was about to take the man down, but saw the small doors on Capone Bege's body suddenly open, and there were piles of small black gun barrels at the door of the small doors. Bang bang bang. Subtle gunshots sounded, but Zhou Lin suddenly jumped into the sky. I saw black bullets flying out of Capone Bege's body, and suddenly turned into cannonballs in the next second, hitting the ground and causing a violent explosion. But if Zhou Lin hides slowly, he may be covered by artillery fire. The fruit of the strong city is really interesting. You only need to put people and ammunition in the body castle, which is equivalent to bringing an army, which can attack the city at any time. This may also be the basis for Capone Bege to lead the West Blue Gang in the future. However, such tricks are completely rubbish for the real strong. Zhou Lin can dodge without knowing observation hockey, and after mastering the observation hockey, it is even less likely to be afraid of such a sneak attack. So, Capone Bege can be finished. Zhou Lin turned over in the air, and the long knife slashed on Capone Bege's body, but there was only a ding sound, the long knife failed to cut in, and Capone Bege's body turned into a tank. The muzzle of the tank was aimed at Zhou Lin, and then fired wildly. However, Zhou Lin dodged very nimbly, and jumped to Capone Bege's side after landing, cutting out with armament hockey wrapped around the blade. Phew, Capone Bege shoots blood. How is it possible? How could you break through my castle defense? Capone Bege's face was full of disbelief and horror. It's not impossible, you can go. Zhou Lin swung the knife again. However, how could Capone Bege sit still and wait to die? He suddenly roared, and his whole body transformed rapidly, turning into a huge castle 50 meters high in the blink of an eye. The fruit of the strong city, as the name suggests, can be turned into a strong castle. Nothing wrong. I won't die. It's you who died. Castle 50-meter boss. Kill. Capone Bege turned into a castle man, raised his giant foot and stepped on Zhou Lin. His gangster brothers hurriedly fled in all directions, fearing that they would be affected by the fighting, but Zhou Lin remained motionless, watching his big feet step down. Just at the moment when the big foot was about to hit the ground, Zhou Lin suddenly retreated and successfully dodged, and took the opportunity to jump onto the big foot, quickly jumping towards the castle man's belly. He raised his foot and kicked the castle man hard in the stomach. Boom! The castle man's stomach shattered directly, and the castle man was kicked away by a huge force, and hit the ground fiercely. The castle man spat out a big mouthful of blood, and said in a terrified tone, "How can you have such a powerful force? My big boss castle is 50 meters high, and its defense is not even broken by the shells of warships, was kicked by you, and was kicked away by you, are you sea kings?" Zhou Lin walked over slowly with a knife in his hand. "Stop talking, it's time for you to go." After speaking, he jumped to the castle man's neck, and swiped down with armament hockey wrapped around the knife. With a bang, the castle man's throat was cut open, and blood splashed like a waterfall. Capone Bege let out a shrill scream, and immediately recovered his body, clutching his neck, unable to make a sound, and still unable to breathe. Immediately afterwards, small doors in his abdomen suddenly opened one after another, and a group of little people, ponies and a pile of small supplies were suddenly thrown out. As soon as they came out, they became bigger and hit the ground fiercely. It seemed that Capone Bege's internal castle could not be maintained, and these people and things in his internal body were immediately thrown out. These people all looked at Zhou Lin in horror, and immediately ran away in fright, regardless of Capone Bege's life or death. Capone Bege's death is a foregone conclusion. There is no need to work for a mortal man, gangsters are so realistic, there is nothing to be ashamed of. Before long, the people on Capone Island basically ran away. Of course, there were a few loyal ones who wanted to save Capone Bege, and all of them died under the knife of Jolin without exception. Without delay, Jolin quickly dragged Capone Bege into the house on the island, and turned Capone Bege into a cube in an empty room. Fearing that the strong city fruit will run away, immediately disassemble Capone Bege's cube. Extract the black cube of the fruit of the strong city, and remove the corpse of Capone Bege from the cube shape, and throw it in the house like this. It should not make people suspect that it has the ability of the cube fruit. Immediately afterwards, Jolin began to sweep across the island. It didn't take long to find the warehouse on Capone Island. Fortunately, those who escaped were frightened and didn't have time to get the things in the warehouse. Now they all belong to Jolin. Turn all the things in the warehouse into small cubes and put them away, and then go to Capone Bege's room to have a look. Too bad there wasn't much more to gain. When it was completely dark, Jolin returned to the coast again. After making sure that there was no one around, he took advantage of the night to turn the weapon thrown from Capone Bege's body into small cubes and put it away. Sure enough, it is troublesome not to reveal your identity, and you have to be careful even when you collect something. After confirming that there was no other valuable things on Capone Island, Jolin immediately flew away with the cube. It happened that there was no moon tonight, and he was not afraid of being seen. However, Jolin did not fly back to Grape Town, but flew to another small island that is relatively close. The news of Capone Bege's death was spread immediately, and various gangsters in West Blue quickly confirmed the authenticity of the matter, and then began to divide the territory of the Capone family without hesitation. Tonight, West Blue is full of gunpowder, gangsters are fighting for the territory, making the whole West Blue jittery. In the middle of the night, Sengoku, who had just fallen asleep, was woken up by a call from West Blue. Now Kong has plans to resign, and Garp and Zephyr have no idea about the position of Marine Marshal, so it is inevitable that Sengoku will become the next Marine Marshal. Now that Kong is gradually over-managing things to Sengoku, many news will be reported here first. The Capone gang was wiped out by a youth group, and even the head of the family, Capone Bege, died. Sengoku couldn't help being surprised. This incident happened very suddenly, without any wind before, making people confused all at once. It is said that a young man went to Grape Town to buy wine. As a result, the Capone gang blocked the way and interrogated the young man, so the young man went to Capone Island in a rage and wiped out the Capone gang. This sounds outrageous, but it is what actually happened. However, this young man does not know his name, he only knows that he is a swordsman with good sword skills. Taking out one of West Blue's gangsters with just swordsmanship. I thought it might be Cube Kid, but it doesn't look like it now. Sengoku was disappointed, but ordered something anyway. For example, let people keep an eye on that young man. If he is a good guy, he might not be able to recruit Marine. If it's a vicious guy, put a bounty on it. Marine has always done this, and there's nothing wrong with it. In addition, they also ordered West Blue's Marine branch to look for opportunities to expand. The gangsters should not be so arrogant. West Blue still has many countries that are members of the world government, and Marine is obliged to protect them. On the other side, on another island not far from Capone Island, Jolin successfully landed in the dark. It's just that before taking 2 steps, I feel that the atmosphere of this island is not right. That's right, the Capone family has just been wiped out, and other gangster forces probably can't wait to grab the territory, and this island is also within the scope of competition. Jolin did not intend to continue to meet these gangsters, otherwise there would be a risk of revealing his identity. So he simply walked along the coast, successfully found a cliff, and planned to hide under the cliff first. But unexpectedly, as soon as they arrived near the cliff, they heard unusual movements. Under the dark night, a graceful long-haired woman also ran towards the cliff, chasing 2 men behind her. It was too dark to see clearly. But the 2 men who were chasing were walking steadily, and it seemed that their strength was not low. At this time, the woman also seemed to see the black shadow of Jolin in front of her, and she was startled, and fell directly to the ground, but subconsciously crossed her hands in front of her chest, as if she was worried that she would be violated. However, the woman did not speak, but her breathing was a little short. Soon, the 2 men who were chasing stopped not far away, because they were not sure about Jolyne's identity, they did not dare to approach rashly. One of them immediately said, "Who are you? If you are passing by, leave immediately, otherwise we will not be polite." Yo, what an arrogant attitude. Jolyne is not afraid of threats. If you leave as soon as you say, "Don't I lose face?" And it seems that you want to do something bad to this girl. As a man, since you met, naturally you can't stand by and watch. The woman was taken aback when she heard the words. The voice was somewhat familiar. Like I just heard it today. The man was furious when he heard the words, "Boy, this woman is a vicious criminal. Do you want to interfere with the world government's work?" Jolyne was taken aback, and couldn't help but guess, "Are you from the CP organization? Now that you know, get out, or we'll give you a ride." Hee, then please send me off. Court death. The two lost their patience and immediately split up, one rushed to Jolyne and the other to the woman. Of course, Jolyne didn't hesitate, and immediately drew his knife and slashed at the rushing man, but the man shouted, "Shave," and disappeared from under Jolyne's eyes, and appeared behind Jolyne in the next second. Marine 6 Styles. Is this a gift bag? Jolyne was overjoyed, felt the man's leg sweeping from behind, immediately turned around and grabbed the man's leg, and then used the fruit ability without hesitation. The man was stunned and found that he had turned into a cube. The key point is that the cube made by Jolyne is quite special, specially designed to lock the person's mouth inside, so that the person cannot speak. The other person had already reached the woman's side and reached out to grab the woman's shoulder. The woman immediately began to resist, 30 ring flowers hook and claw. I saw that many hands suddenly grew out of the man's body, and his body was also grasped by one hand after another, especially the jaw was tightly grasped, as if his neck would be twisted in the next second. And the identity of the woman is self-evident, it is O'Hara's only survivor, Nico Robin. Jolyne didn't expect to meet this miserable girl. He was just guessing a while ago, but now that he's completely sure, he naturally wants to save her. Iron body. The man immediately launched one of the 6 moves. The whole body is like an iron body. Even though Robin tried his best, he couldn't break the man's neck. Thinking about it, Robin is only about 17 years old now, and his skills are still very immature, and his strength is not strong enough. Naturally, he cannot compete with a strong CP who has learned Marine 6 styles. Of course, it should be that West Blue was disturbed by Jolyne, and Robin showed his feet. Otherwise, he wouldn't be easily targeted by CP people. Jolyne didn't hesitate, and immediately stepped forward and slapped the man, turning him into a small cube and putting it away. Now Marine 6 style started, but I don't know that these two people have not learned everything. You. Robin looked at the shadow of Jolyne in surprise. I know who you are, I won't harm you, come with me. Jolyne turned around and left, regardless of whether Robin agreed or not. Robin hesitated for a moment, gritted his teeth and chose to follow. Robin has already recognized that this person is the swordsman from Great Town. His strength is beyond imagination. If this person wants to deal with her, it will be absolutely easy. But since this person didn't do anything to her, maybe he can trust her for a while. Moreover, it was too dark to see clearly just now, and the two CP people disappeared for some reason, which felt very strange. It is better for her to be obedient for the time being. Jolyne took Robin to the bottom of the cliff, and directly used the fruit ability to dig a hole. After entering the cave, Jolyne closed the cave again, and took out a block to turn it into a lamp. In order to make the hole more comfortable, Jolyne naturally made preparations. In addition to the lamp, he also prepared air cubes to prevent him from suffocating in the hole. After all this was done, Jolyne looked at Robin. I have to say that Robin is very beautiful and has an excellent figure, especially at the age of 17, who is young and beautiful, and has the temperament of a girl and a royal sister, very charming. But Jolyne just glanced at it, then looked away. It's not that Jolyne doesn't like beautiful girls, but a matter of politeness as a man. In a closed cave, a lonely man and a widow live in the same room, and you still stare straight at the girl, so you don't want to scare the girl to death. And Jolyne was hungry, so he was busy taking out food and water, and gave some to Robin by the way. Robin just watched Jolyne's operation without daring to disturb him. It wasn't until he ate something that he couldn't help but say, "Well, are you a cubic fruit capable user with a reward of 50 million Baileys?" Jolyne was taken aback, a reward of 50 million. Isn't it 500 million? The 500 million one is the reward from the underground world, and the 50 million is the reward from the Marine, which was issued only 2 days ago, don't you know? I don't know, but it's not right. I didn't do anything bad. Why did Marine put a reward on me? Is this meant to support Doflamingo? Well, it seems that because you dug through the upside-down mountain, Marine said that the upside-down mountain is the property of the world government. Robin explained softly, and then sighed again. Yeah, I didn't do anything bad, so why offer a reward? Many things are so unreasonable, but as a weak person, I can't resist. Jolin was silent. He knew what Robin was thinking. There are indeed too many unreasonable things in this world, and the weak cannot resist. O'Hara touched the blank history. In the eyes of Robin and O'Hara scholars, there is nothing wrong, but in the eyes of the world government, it touched the taboo. Robin was just an 8-year-old kid, so what's wrong? But because she is a survivor of O'Hara and the only doctor in O'Hara, she is wrong and deserves a reward. Because he is weak, he can't resist, so he either runs away or gets killed. This is not a world that pays attention to right and wrong, let alone an era that pays attention to right and wrong. It is about the strong preying on the weak. It is only natural that the weak will be wiped out by the strong if they touch the scales of the strong. O'Hara's spirit of exploration is admirable, but his approach is very stupid. Therefore, O'Hara perished. Poor Robin lost his mother, lost his hometown, and had to shoulder the heavy responsibility of exploring the blank history. For the past 10 years, he was in exile, constantly hunted and betrayed, and his life was very painful. Such a girl should get more love and care. However, Jolin doesn't know how to coax people, and he never thought that he could soothe Robin's wounded heart with just a few words. He thought for a while before opening his mouth. There is a Magic Valley town on the Grand Line, and there is a Sky Island above the Magic Valley town. On the Sky Island, there is a golden village that has disappeared for 400 years. And the soldiers of the Golden Village once had a mission. It is to guard the Golden Bell, and the base of the Golden Bell is a huge block. Robin's pupils shrank suddenly. Could it be? Yes, that huge block is exactly the historical text you were looking for. I suggest you go there. I'm going to the Grand Line immediately. Slow down. Calm down first. Jolin raised his hand and pressed Robin's shoulder. The Grand Line is very dangerous. Going there with your strength is death. You don't want to die like that, do you? Robin quickly suppressed his gaffe. You're right, I can't die easily. What should I do? Jolin smiled. It's good to become stronger, and you have to become very strong. You are a demon fruit power. You must know how to develop it well, and learn more skills, so that you can better protect yourself. You remember, don't be too anxious. You are only 17 years old now, and you have enough time to fulfill your dreams. Too anxious will make your dreams fall short. Robin nodded solemnly, then got up and saluted gratefully. Thank you for your reminder. Jolin just waved his hands and didn't say anything more, but found a comfortable position and began to rest. Robin didn't bother, but sat on the side obediently, suppressing his excitement while thinking about ways to become stronger. What Robin didn't realize was that Jolin was quietly taking out 2 small cubes, using his fruit ability to decompose the 2 small cubes, and then integrate them into himself. Yes, these 2 small cubes are the Marine 6 Styles memory cubes of the 2 previous CP personnel. Jolin has been greedy for Marine 6 Styles for a long time, but he didn't expect someone to give him a pillow when he was sleepy, and Jolin would naturally not refuse. The Marine 6 Styles that these 2 people have learned are not all, but fortunately they add up to just enough 6 Styles. Jolin only needs to integrate the memory of the 6 Styles into his mind, and he can master the 6 Styles at his fingertips. With his strength to use the 6 Styles, it will definitely not be too weak. With more fighting methods, you don't need to rely too much on fruit abilities, and there is less risk of revealing your identity. This trip to West Blue is really bloody money. On the second night, Jolin finally absorbed the memory of the 6 Styles. Sure enough, the fusion of memory is much more dangerous and difficult than the fusion of physical energy. After all, it is related to the brain and soul, and a slight mistake may cause accidents. Fortunately, Jolin is also familiar with the road. As long as he is more careful, there will be no problems. He can't wait to try out the power of Marine 6 Styles now. There are not many systematic fighting skills in One Piece world, only Marine 6 Styles, 8-punch boxing and shemale boxing, etc., and Marine 6 styles has the highest penetration rate. This is a combat technique that can really turn ordinary people into superhumans. Marine has also cultivated generations of strong people with this systematic combat technique. It can be said that Marine 6 styles is absolutely indispensable for Marine to become one of the overlords of the sea. Zhou Lin turned over immediately, but saw Robin falling asleep leaning against the cave wall, and sleeping soundly, as if he hadn't been so peaceful for a long time. This girl is also suffering. He has been running for his life since he was 8 years old, and now he has been running for 9 years. It's hard to imagine how a little girl survived in a world full of malice, and still retains the original kindness deep in her heart, which is really rare. Zhou Lin really wanted to protect this girl. However, he also has his own goals, and it is impossible to run around with Robin. And speaking of it, it is really dangerous for Robin to follow him, because he is going to hunt the strong and fight against the world government. The situation he faces is much more dangerous than what Robin faced. So, let Robin go out on his own, at most he can teach him how to become stronger. In addition, you can ask Drago to take care of him, but I don't know if Robin will trust Drago. Huh, are you awake? Robin rubbed his eyes suddenly and said, I see you haven't moved for a whole day, and you didn't dare to disturb you. Are you okay? Zhou Lin showed a bright smile, of course I'm fine. Robin, we should get out of here. Let's find a deserted island first. I have something to teach you. Zhou Lin doesn't regret telling Robin about the historical text on Sky Island. Robin will go to the Grand Line sooner or later. Instead of asking her to go to various dangerous places to find information, it is better to tell her directly. Moreover, Robin has been looking for the text of the history for so many years, and the gains can be described as minimal. Coupled with the constant betrayal, hope has gradually turned into despair. Telling her this news now will allow her to regain motivation. Rather than working with Crocodile later, it would have been better to go to Sky Island. The golden clock on Sky Island has a message from Roger, which is even more important to Robin. As for why not contact Dorag directly, Zhou Lin also thought about it. Now Robin doesn't fully trust Zhou Lin. If Zhou Lin contacts Drago, maybe Robin's only trust will disappear. After all, he has been betrayed many times and he has become sensitive. Therefore, I can only contact Dorag after the fact. The two left by night and flew towards a deserted island far away from Capone Island. Robin sat on the square, feeling the sea breeze at night, and slightly pulled Zhou Lin's clothes so that he would not fall off, but his heart was unprecedentedly peaceful. She felt that she was trusting this man. Yes, she had been betrayed many times, and the trust each time was extremely precious, but she still gradually began to trust this man. Just because he saved her and informed her of new news, he treated her very well, which may seem like a convenient thing to him, but it is extremely rare to her. She can remember it for a lifetime. At dawn, the two arrived on the deserted island. After confirming that there was no one on the deserted island, the two had a simple breakfast before Zhou Lin started teaching. Robin, your learning ability should be very strong, so I will only teach you for 1 day. It depends on how much you remember and how much you can comprehend in the future. First, Marine 6 styles. This style is called shaving, and a faster speed can be obtained by stepping on the ground dozens of times in an instant. This style is called moonwalk, and it's similar to shaving. You can gain the ability to stay in the air by stepping on the air with your strong feet. After learning the ability, you don't have to worry about falling into the sea. This one is called tempest kick. While talking and demonstrating, Zhou Lin is also turning the absorbed memories into practical applications, and also feels the convenience and power of Marine 6 styles. Sure enough, Marine 6 styles lived up to his expectations, and now he is stronger. Robin listened to the class in a daze, obviously stunned. She didn't expect Marine to have such formidable fighting skills. Once he learned it, he would be like a Superman. No wonder Marine is so powerful. At the same time, she also stared at Zhou Lin's movements without blinking, and listened carefully to Zhou Lin's explanation, lest she miss a movement or a word. This is an opportunity for her to become stronger. She was still worrying about how to become stronger last night, and now Zhou Lin is teaching her. How could she not cherish it? In one morning, Zhou Lin completely taught Robin the mysteries of the 6 forms. Although Robin couldn't learn it right away, he also knew how to comprehend it. Whether he can become stronger depends on Robin's savvy and hard work. In the afternoon, Jolin taught hockey again, but he could only demonstrate armament hockey, but still emphasize the importance of hockey. Hockey is the standard equipment for the strong in the sea, and those who don't know hockey are weak chickens. Only when Robin has learned hockey will he truly have the power to protect himself. At least he can use observation hockey to sense danger in time, and he can also fight when he encounters a Logia-capable person. A day of teaching is over soon. It was already night after dinner, and Jolin manipulated the cube to take Robin to the nearest town. I still have important things to do, it's time to say goodbye. As Jolin said, he also took out a cloak from the pile of cubes and put it on Robin, as well as the mask. After all, he is a wanted criminal, so it is inconvenient to show his appearance. Robin pulled the corner of Jolin's clothes very tightly. I don't know your name yet, can you tell me? Robin asked in a low voice. Of course, my name is Jolin. Before I reveal it to Marine, please remember to keep it a secret from me. Jolin said with a smile. Well, I will definitely keep this secret. No, you don't need to stick to it, it's just a name, it's not as important as your life. Jolin said and stuffed a phone bug and a stack of Baileys into Robin's palm. If you are really in danger, remember to contact me, I will rush to rescue you. In addition, I will give you another contact information. You can contact my friend. If you trust me, you can contact him when you encounter difficulties. His name is Dorag, you will hear his name sooner or later, don't be surprised then. Robin solemnly put away the phone bug, but the reluctance in his eyes grew stronger and stronger. She remembered what her deceased giant friend Saul said, no one born in this world will be alone, and one day she will definitely find someone willing to protect her in the sea. That's right, isn't the man in front of him named Jolin exactly such a person? He rescued her, told her the news of the main text of history, and taught her to become stronger. Before he left, he was so worried about her safety. Isn't such a person the one who is willing to protect her? She finally found it. But he is leaving. Thinking of this, Robin finally couldn't help but his eyes were red, and he threw himself into Jolin's arms, sobbing. Jolin was helpless, raised his hand and patted the girl's head. His voice was rare and gentle. You silly girl, how could you throw yourself into the arms of a man you just met for 2 days? Be careful, I will carry you home as my wife. Robin shook his head and said nothing. Tears wet Jolin's skirt. Jolin had no choice but to continue. In the future, you should pay more attention to safety alone, and quickly make yourself stronger. When you encounter a crisis, don't hesitate to ask me for help. I will try my best to rush to your side. Robin hummed, but still holding on to Jolin's clothes. After a long time, perhaps after adjusting his mood, he slowly came out of Jolin's arms, his cheeks also stained rosy. It was the first time she cried while hugging a man. And what did Jolin say just now? Want to carry her home to be your wife? What to do? Suddenly so shy. However, the sky was too dark, Jolin couldn't see Robin's expression clearly, and made sure that Robin had stabilized his mood, so he hurriedly urged her to go to the town. Now that it was getting late, she had to find a place to rest quickly. Robin looked back 3 times, and finally left. Jolin didn't delay, and quickly controlled the cube to fly away from the town. However, when the sea breeze was blowing, Jolin couldn't help showing a smile. It's really tempting to be so promising at only 17 years old, but love and marriage are not considered for the time being. Let's talk about it when the world government is overthrown. Quote. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Sengoku gradually took over Kong's work and became more and more busy. Recently, I had a lot of headaches because of the op fruit, but in the end I chose to hide it from Kong temporarily, and colluded with Garp and Crane Vice Admiral, only saying that the op fruit was robbed by someone I don't know. After all, it is still favoritism for the adopted son Rocinante. And no longer let Rocinante return to Don Quixote pirates undercover, and there is no plan to reinstate Rocinante for the time being. Instead, they decided to let Rocinante take Luo to Gucci Kingdom, where there is one of the most cutting-edge medical skills in the whole sea, which just fulfilled Luo's wish to study medicine. Also just in time for Rocinante to hide for a while. Garp and Crane Vice Admiral naturally gave their old comrade's face and cooperated very well. In fact, Sengoku originally wanted to hand Luo over to the world government as an explanation, but Rocinante firmly opposed it, and Sengoku couldn't hold back after all. Everyone in the know knows what Luo will face after being handed over. Rocinante naturally knew it too, that's why he objected so strongly, otherwise it would be meaningless for him to try his best to save Luo. After sending Rocinante and Luo away, Sengoku was relieved, and then Garp broke into Sengoku's office carelessly, causing Sengoku another headache. Sengoku, this old man wants to go back to his hometown to see his grandson, so give this old man a leave of absence. Garp went straight to the point. Garp, what did you say when you asked for leave last year? You took all of this year's leave last year, saying that you must work hard this year, and now you are asking for leave. Sengoku was so angry that his head was smoking. What's the matter? Why don't I just move next year's leave to this year? How is this possible? You give me an honest job this year, and go to sea to catch a few more vicious big pirates. If you can catch Whitebeard into Impel Down, I'll give you half a year's vacation. Sengoku, what nonsense are you talking about? Is Whitebeard easy to catch? If you can't catch it, don't even think about asking for leave. If you go back to East Blue casually, I will count you absent from work and deduct all your salary for a year. It depends on whether you dare. Sengoku, you are not a reasonable person. Garp was very upset, so he just found a seat and sat down, took out the senbei from his coat and gnawed on it. The crackling sound annoyed Sengoku very much. But Garp glanced at Sengoku's desk at this moment, and was immediately attracted by a photo. This kid is. Garp picked up the photo. This is the young man who wiped out the Capone gang in West Blue a few days ago, and we are now stepping up the investigation. I think this young man's swordsmanship is good, and since he shows justice to the gang, maybe he can be recruited into Marine. Sengoku tried to keep himself calm. Recruit Marine? Forget it. Huh, Garp, you know this guy. Not only does this old man know him, but you all know him. Even if this guy turns into ashes, he won't be able to escape the old man's eyes. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect this square kid to look like this. He's quite handsome. Huh, Garp, you mean, this young man is Cube Kid? Sengoku was a little stunned, but it's not right, this young man is a swordsman, and I haven't seen him use the fruit ability before, are you really sure? Garp threw the photo back on the desk. Sengoku, don't doubt the eyes of a veteran. I've fought this kid before, and I can't admit my mistake. Just trust me. Sengoku nodded, of course he trusted Garp. And Sengoku knows Garp very well. Don't look at Garp, who is careless and unreliable all day long. In fact, his brain is not bad, and his eyes are very good. Since Garp said yes, he must be. And in this way, some problems can suddenly become clear. Cube Boy obviously went to West Blue, but why can't he find any relevant information? It's not that this kid went to other sea areas, but deliberately concealed it. If it weren't for Garp's sharp eyes, who would have thought that the swordsman who destroyed the Capone family would be Cube Kid? But what is the purpose of this kid? Why is he making trouble everywhere? Sengoku couldn't figure it out, but that didn't stop him from offering a bounty on Cube Boy. So in less than a day, Cube Boy's new reward order came down, and the bounty was added to 55 million Baileys, and this time the photo was not the masked man. As soon as the new reward order came out, it caused quite a stir in the sea. Especially in the underground world, because Doflamingo's bounty on Jolin in the underground world has reached 500 million berries. How can such a bounty be uncoveted? With photos, finding people is much easier. Ever since, many people began to investigate Jolin's whereabouts. At this time, Jolin was wandering around in a small town, silently planning his next plan. Now West Blue doesn't need to stay anymore. Although there are other gangsters who can grab arms, the Revolutionary Army's uprising has not yet started, and the arms snatched last time and this time are enough for the time being, so they don't need it for the time being. Worry about arms. So, where to go next? South Blue. No, it doesn't make much sense to stay in Four Seas anymore, it's time to go to the Grand Line. Hunt devil fruit and hockey on the Grand Line. At this time, Jolin passed a newsstand and bought a newspaper, but found that the owner of the stall had a strange look in his eyes, as if he knew him. When Jolin found out the new reward order, he suddenly understood. Identity exposed. Cubic Boy, you can't escape. 555 million Baileys will belong to us. Suddenly there was a roar, and I saw a group of people in black suits rushing towards us with knives and guns. Obviously they were members of the gang. In addition, Jolin also saw a young tough guy with an inch head standing on the roof not far away. There was something written on the chest of this tough guy, and his arms suddenly turned into double blades. Yo, isn't this Mr. 1, Lao Shaw's subordinate, who is still working as an assassin in West Blue? Thinking about it, Daz Bonez is not yet 20 years old, he hasn't been to the Grand Line yet, and it seems that Lao Shaw hasn't started to form a Baroque work club, so this Daz Bonez is naturally not Mr. 1. But Jolin is not afraid. West Blue's gang is a bunch of fools, and now Daz Bonez is just a piece of shit. Now that his identity has been exposed, he doesn't mind a big fight. So Jolin drew his sword and laughed loudly, ha 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 ha. Your identity has been exposed. Come and die. By the way, the name of the person who killed you is Jolin. Before he finished speaking, he slapped the ground with his palm, and the ground quickly turned into squares, smashing hard at the miscellaneous fish of the gang. And Jolin took the opportunity to rush into the crowd, causing screams in the small town. Trash fish was indeed trash fish, a large piece fell in less than a minute, and the rest all ran away. The people on the street also ran away one after another, only Daz Bonez was still watching Jolin from the air, and then the tough guy suddenly jumped up in the next second, his 5 fingers turned into blades and grabbed Jolin. Master the cut. I have to say that Daz Bonez is an excellent killer, and he really doesn't talk too much. Jolin raised the knife to block smoothly, and Daz Bonez's other hand also followed to master the chop, and both hands attacked one after another, really one continuous. Fortunately, Jolin is not a weak person, he still blocked all the attacks calmly. In less than 30 seconds, Daz Bonez actually made hundreds of master cuts, and the strength was extremely powerful, and the speed was as fast as a tiger descending a mountain. However, it couldn't hurt Jolin at all. Seeing this, Daz Bonez suddenly changed his move, crossed his arms in front of his chest, and his palms completely turned into blades. Dust slash. With a low shout, he leapt forward and turned into a humanoid harvester. Jolin received the attack head-on, and felt the dense slashing blows coming towards him, very violent. If it were an ordinary person here, he would probably be turned into pieces of meat immediately. But Jolin's strength is no longer comparable to that of Daz Bonez. Hee, you are indeed the newly emerged killer of West Blue. You are really strong, but you can't beat me. Jolin chuckled, the long knife in his hand was wrapped around armament hockey. Seeing Daz Bonez approaching, he slashed forward and hit him in the chest. Puff, blood spurted out. Moat Slash's attack was also broken, and Daz Bonez half kneeled on the ground, clutching his chest. Impossible, my body is full of blades, it is impossible for a swordsman to hurt me, how did you do it? There seemed to be disbelief in the voice, but the question was very calm, as if it was just doubts, and there was no hysteria after someone else failed, as if he was not the one who lost. Daz Bonez is such a character. He has always been taciturn. When he was a killer in West Blue, he didn't talk too much. He went to kill people when he received the commission, and he got paid after the killing. There was no unnecessary nonsense in the whole process. Of course, he also has his own arrogance. Although he is still very young, he is invulnerable to swords and guns because he ate the fruit of fast cutting, especially he looks down on swordsmen. Because the swordsman can't break through his defense. Originally, he should have thought it was an easy job this time, but he didn't expect the reality to give him the first blow. Nothing is impossible. The sea is so big. There are countless strong men who can defeat you. You are just a weak man sitting in a well. Jolin actively fought against the arrogance of this tough guy. I'm defeated, kill me. Daz Bonez simply sat on the ground and waited to die. He also saw that Jolin was absolutely merciful. He could break through his defense, but he didn't seriously injure him, or even kill him directly. The gap between the two is huge, he is no match for Jolin at all. However, Jolin asked, Daz Bonez, you answer me a question honestly, have you ever killed ordinary people? Daz Bonez was puzzled, but he answered honestly, ordinary people have no value in asking me to do it. Since I became a killer, I have been commissioned to kill high-level gangsters or pirates. Well, it seems that you saved your life. Lin smiled and stretched out his hand. Your strength is good, I am very optimistic about you, do you want to hang out with me? I am going to the Grand Line soon, there are more strong people waiting for you to challenge, my request is to obey me order, and must not harm ordinary people. Daz Bonez was taken aback, but he didn't hesitate for long, and immediately reached out to hold Lin's hand. The loser obeys the winner, I will listen to you, boss. Hearing this, Lin was even more satisfied. This Daz Bonez is definitely a good subordinate. First of all, he has good strength and can complete the task of thugs very well. Then he is very loyal, as long as he recognizes you as the boss, he will carry out your orders without hesitation. Another point is that it is very quiet and will not disturb you. Just ask where can such a good employee be found. That's why Lin asked Daz Bonez that question just now. If this guy is a fool who killed innocent people indiscriminately, then Lin would definitely send him to hell. Good thing Daz Bonez qualified. As for whether he was lying, Lin didn't think so. How could he lie just to save his life when he was killed just now because of his defeat? He didn't bother to do that at all. And as he said, ordinary people have no value in being killed by him. That being the case, it has the value of being subdued. The number one employee of Crocodile, Lin accepted it with a blunt smile. Then let's set off immediately, the Grand Line is waiting for us, we will make a breakthrough in this chaotic era and make something earth-shattering. East Blue, Shimotsuki Village. Green-haired Zoro lost to Kuina again. However, it has to be said that Zoro is extremely talented in the way of swordsmanship, and he quickly caught up with him in just a short time, which made Kuina tired of coping. At this time, Kuina also began to understand what Lin said when he left. Women are naturally weaker than men in terms of physical strength, which seems to be the rule of this world. But fortunately, Kuina is not depressed, because Lin has given her the science in advance of the powerful people in the sea, especially the extremely powerful female pirate Charlotte Linlin of New World, which broke people's perception of women. Let people know that women can be so powerful and terrifying. And Lin also said that there are many ways in the sea to make up for women's physical weaknesses. Therefore, Kuina is full of confidence in the future, and she firmly believes that she will never lose to Zoro. Lin is waiting for her in the sea, and she will not bring the news of her failure to see him. At this moment, Shimotsuki Koshiro walked over silently and handed a reward order to Kuina. Kuina was taken aback. Lin is Cube Kid. Zoro also leaned over. It's really Lin. I didn't expect that the Cube boy who was rumored before is actually him. The two of them had also read newspapers before, so they naturally knew about Cube boys digging through the upside-down mountain. They thought it was someone who was so bored to do such a thing, but they turned out to be their acquaintances. Zoro held a leaf in his mouth and said, "What? This guy Lin is too idle, what are you doing digging mountains?" Kuina immediately rolled her eyes. What do you know? Although I don't know why Lin did this, haven't you noticed that Lin can dig through a huge mountain with the ability of Devil Fruit, which shows how capable Devil Fruit is horrible. Chapter 31. Kuina regards Lin as a good friend, so naturally Zoro is not allowed to say that about Lin. It's true when you say that, Devil Fruit is amazing. That's right, maybe, I can change my physique with Devil Fruit. Kuina, what are you talking about? Nothing. Kuina didn't bother to pay attention to Zoro, but looked at Shimotsuki Koshiro. Dad, did Lin do something bad? Just because he dug through the red line, he was offered a reward by the marine. Shimotsuki Koshiro taught with a gentle smile. Kuina, this sea will not be friendly to you just because you don't do bad things. Lin may not have done bad things, but he may not follow the rules set by others, or violate some people's interests, so others will want to eradicate him. So, Lin is still the same Lin, I don't need to be hostile to him because he is a bounty criminal. It's up to you to judge for yourself. This is a lesson you must go through to grow up. North Blue, Spedar Meyer's junkyard. Doflamingo stabbed the bounty with a dagger. Hey, so you look like this. So your name is Lin. Well, I finally know who you are, and what awaits you next will be endless revenge. The hatred of exposing Virgo, the hatred of attacking the garrison, the hatred of killing Pika, and the hatred of teasing me, you will pay back 100-fold. My family, It's time for us to enter the Grand Line, a new era awaits us, and we're going to do something big. First, I'm going to be 7 warlords of the sea. ... Here, Joe Lin drove the cube to the reversing mountain. He is really going to the Grand Line this time, not digging mountains. Daz Bonez was already bandaged, and he was sitting quietly on the cube, but if you looked closely, you could still see the anticipation in his eyes. The Grand Line is a magical place. Some people are terrified, while others are full of longing. There are countless desires there. Some are for treasures, some are for adventure, some are for becoming stronger, and some are simply for burning, killing and looting. There is the grave of dreams, but it is also the paradise of dreams. Daz Bonez naturally yearns for the Grand Line, and he looks forward to fighting more powerful players. But Joe Lin didn't like the Grand Line very much, because it was full of too much filth, and all the sins were displayed vividly and disgustingly. However, if you want to destroy this corrupt world, you have to enter this dirty place. The fire of revolution must be lit in dirty places, and all the filth should be dispersed until it is eliminated. Blah blah blah, the phone bug is ringing. Joe Lin answered immediately. Robin, are you in any danger? Where are you? Do you want me to go there immediately? A series of problems made the phone bug get stuck. Fortunately, Robin reacted quickly, and the phone bug's cheeks turned rosy. I'm fine, you don't have to worry about me. It's fine, so what's the matter with you contacting me? Joe Lin, your appearance is exposed. I saw your new reward, are you okay? It's okay, it's just that I met West Blue's gangsters and wiped them all out, and I didn't get hurt at all. Joe Lin was very happy, he could feel Robin's worry. But Robin hurriedly said, Joe Lin, I didn't betray you, and I don't know how your appearance will be leaked, you have to trust me. Joe Lin's smile widened. Of course I believe you, because you will only betray those who betrayed you first, right? Yes, I will not betray you. Okay, it makes you nervous, how can I doubt you? Joe Lin really never doubted Robin. Not to mention that I already know who Robin is from the original book, but after 2 days of contact, Joe Lin has already clearly understood Robin's kind nature. Robin won't betray first unless you betray her first. Moreover, this girl threw herself into her arms during the previous parting, so how could she turn around and inform Marine? The key point is that Robin himself is also a wanted criminal, and there is no benefit to inform Marine. Robin also heaved a sigh of relief when he heard the words, I'm afraid you might misunderstand, it's rare for me to have a trustworthy friend. Joe Lin continued to reassure me, I'm not an idiot, so I can't misunderstand casually. And if I guess right, it should be the old man Garp who saw through my disguise. Garp, you mean, Marine hero Garp? Yes, that veteran's eyes are very poisonous. I have fought against him before. He should have recognized me when he saw my photo in West Blue. You actually fought Marine hero Garp? There was disbelief in Robin's tone, but he also heaved a sigh of relief. Joe Lin fought with Garp, but now he is safe and sound. It can be seen that Joe Lin's strength is indeed good, so there is no need to worry too much about Joe Lin's safety. Joe Lin comforted Robin a few more words, and warned Robin to pay attention to safety, and then hung up the bug. It was the first time to be cared about by a girl. Joe Lin couldn't help jumping for joy. He even couldn't help but think of the feeling when he hugged Robin that night, and couldn't help patting his forehead immediately. He obviously decided not to think about love and marriage for the time being, but he couldn't help thinking about it. Sure enough, a man of this age can't refuse an attractive girl. Boss, did you really fight Garp? Daz Bonez seldom spoke. It was fought, but old man Garp showed mercy. Joe Lin did not brag arrogantly, but told the truth, the veteran is really strong. If he is serious, I can't withstand his punch. I was lucky that time, otherwise I would have entered Impel down. Daz Bonez was surprised. Marine hero is really that powerful. It's not only powerful, it's terrifying. When he's serious, he can destroy an island with one punch. He can be called a humanoid monster. Real or fake? Daz Bonez was a little incredulous. But seeing the apprehensive expression on his boss's face, he couldn't help believing it. In Daz Bonez's view, his boss is a strong man who can beat him in seconds, but such a boss admits that he is vulnerable in front of Garp, which shows that Garp is really too strong. It can be said that it is worthy of being the Marine hero who captured the One Piece. Joe Lin quickly smiled and said, but I will surpass him soon. This is also the purpose of our entry into the Grand Line. If you want to do a big business, you must have strong strength. You must grow up as soon as possible, Bonez. Get up, or you will be delayed. Daz Bonez nodded solemnly. I will not disappoint the boss. In New World, the big pirates from all walks of life naturally also saw Joe Lin's reward order. However, it was quickly thrown aside. Although Joe Lin dug through the upside-down mountain to amuse the big guys Ichiraku, he didn't really make the big guys take it seriously, because the real strong don't dig holes like gophers. Even if it is necessary to open up several sea areas, the strong will choose a more powerful approach. For example, splitting the upside-down mountain with one knife. For example, one punch shattered the upside-down mountain. Anyway, he would not choose to dig a hole. In the eyes of the real strong, this cute boy is just a little mouse, and there is not much value worthy of attention. In a certain sea area, on the Moby Dick of the Whitebeard pirates, Whitebeard bold and grandiose is sitting, holding a huge wine jug and pouring wine into his mouth. That's a bold one. Whitebeard now is not as old and sick as 10 years later. Although Marco has repeatedly warned him not to drink too much, Whitebeard never listens. Marco couldn't resist, and he wasn't too worried. After all, Whitebeard is now famous and the real #1 in the world. Nothing can knock him down, not even illness. La 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 la. Have fun. Free pirates should drink like this. Whitebeard laughed and asked instead, Marco, has that crocodile been harassing our place lately? Marco nodded. Yes, that guy, relying on his Logia demon fruit power, crazily deserted the island belonging to our pirate group like a mad dog, clamoring to challenge Dad. HMPH. It seems that I don't want to teach this kid a lesson. He really doesn't know the heights of heaven and earth. Father, it is said that the world government approached him and appointed him 7 warlords of the sea, acknowledging his legal plunder status. La 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 la. No wonder you are so arrogant. It turned out that it was because of this that he drifted away. A pirate who chose to be a lackey for the world government dared to challenge me, Whitebeard. It seems that I have to teach him a profound lesson. Whitebeard said and threw the wine jar aside. Children, let's set sail. Let's teach that sand crocodile a lesson and let him know that the Whitebeard pirates are not easy to mess with. Wano-kuni, the island of ghosts. Kaido is also drinking, and because he is young and strong, he drinks very hard. Boss, the Moria pirates are messing around on our territory again, shouldn't we destroy them? Yan Calamity Jin asked. Hello, that fellow Moria has some skills, and he can be captured as a subordinate. Kaido didn't take Moria seriously. Let the newcomer deal with it. Since he joined the Beast's pirates, he should know how to work harder as a newcomer. Yan Calamity nodded immediately. Okay boss, I will arrange for Foz Fu to fight Moria. Foz Fu was originally a CP member of the world government, but was imprisoned by the world government because the escort devil fruit was robbed by the red-haired Shanks. But this guy has some skills. He even escaped from prison and came here to join the Beast's pirates. Kaido naturally wouldn't refuse, but being a part of the Beast's pirates isn't a blessing. You have to work hard when it's time to work. Not only Whitebeard and Kaido's territory was harassed, but Dama's Wangguo was also attacked. The current New World separatist hegemony has not yet been fully determined, so the battles among the big pirates are particularly fierce, and many pirate groups that have just entered New World are not afraid of death, frantically challenging the authority of the big pirates. Although Whitebeard, Kaido and Big Mom are famous, they can't scare everyone. There are naturally many challengers like Crocodile and Moria, and they are all thinking of defeating these big guys who have dominated the New World for a long time and achieving new hegemony. Only in that way can you be eligible to go to Raftel and become the new One Piece. The New World is turbulent, and sooner or later the real emperor will be determined, but at this time Joe Lin is a rookie who has not yet reached the Grand Line, so naturally he will not be looked down upon by the strong. Upside Down Mountain is not far away. Before Joe Lin could fly over, he met someone who came to hand over the supplies. Joe Lin looked at Shang, who was quietly holding a book, and silently took out a bunch of small squares. This is the property and arms of the Capone family, and I also picked up the fruit of the strong city. Take it and make good use of it. Quote. Shang took it with a blank face, and said in a gentle voice, your appearance and name are completely exposed, and the leader is very worried about you. Zhou Lin smiled and shook his head. Sooner or later, you will be exposed, so you don't need to worry too much. And it's good to be exposed, at least you don't need to be careful, and you can make troubles openly. Shang was silent for a while, and then said, I am about to become 7 warlords of the sea. If you need to contact me, I can cover you in some matters. Haha, please. Zhou Lin will not be polite with Shang. Everyone is his own, so how can they start a revolution together if they are too polite? Shang nodded to Zhou Lin, took another look at Daz Bonez, took off his gloves in the next second, and disappeared in an instant. This startled Daz Bonez. He looked around quickly, but found nothing. He was shocked on the spot for a moment, and didn't know what to say. See, this is the real strong man. Zhou Lin showed a mysterious smile, but he didn't intend to explain to Bonez. Think of it as teaching Bonez a lesson before entering the Grand Line, and telling Bonez not to underestimate anyone. But the teleportation of the bear is really scary. Meatball fruit really YYDS. Afterwards, Zhou Lin led Bonez swaggeringly over the inverted mountain, and the shadows directly passed over the sailors guarding the entrance of the cave, and the sailors raised their heads one after another. It's Cube Kid. He's at it again. Go and see if South Blue has also been dug through. Is he going to enter the Grand Line? Hurry up and report to the headquarters. Zhou Lin's entry into the Grand Line made a lot of noise, but Sengoku didn't have time to pay attention to it, because Sengoku saw an opportunity in the battle of several big pirate groups in New World. As a result, Naval Headquarters is now also gathering troops to prepare for a fisherman's profit. Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji are naturally named, because the strength of the 3 has reached a very strong point. When Sengoku becomes the Marine Marshal, the 3 will also be promoted to Marine Admiral. Such an important battle now naturally requires 3 people to perform well. Kizaru expressed dissatisfaction with this. Marshal Sengoku, this old man is tracking the Sun Pirates. If Fisher Tiger can't be caught, it would be terrible if the Celestial Dragons get angry. Sengoku couldn't help frowning when he heard that. The pursuit of Fisher Tiger was a death order from the Celestial Dragons, and it really couldn't be ignored. However, now that New World is involved in a large-scale separatist war, several big pirate groups are fighting wildly, which is the key opportunity for Marine to enter New World. Kizaru is extremely powerful in terms of strength and speed, and will play a key role in combat. So Kizaru must participate in this battle no matter what. Porosalino, there is no rush to hunt down the Sun Pirates. I can leave it to your subordinates for the time being. This battle is very important, so don't be lazy. Sengoku decided. Understood, Sengoku Admiral. Kizaru was less lazy than later. Now is the critical period for promotion, so try to be as active as possible. Even if you want to be lazy, you have to become Admiral. At that time, no one will have any objections. At this moment, Crane Vice Admiral said, Sengoku, Crocodile, Hawkeye Mahawk, and Tyrant Bear have already negotiated with the world government, and they just need to officially announce that they will become 7 warlords of the sea. Perhaps, we can ask them to cooperate with us. After all, the fighting power is really not weak. Sengoku couldn't help thinking. Crane Vice Admiral's proposal is indeed good. Sengoku has already been tempted. However, Sengoku obviously knows more. For example, both Hawkeye and Bear have secret deals with the world government. The specific details of the deals are unknown, but they are therefore ordered not to move. Even if they are really forced to participate in the war, it is estimated that they will be perfunctory if they agree. So it might as well forget it. Forget it, after all, they are pirates, and fighting with them will affect Marines' morale. Moreover, the Shichibukai system has not been formally implemented, and it is not easy for us to order them. Since Sengoku said so, Suru Vice Admiral will not mention it anymore. This operation is under the sole responsibility of Sengoku, the future marshal, and no one dares to raise any objections. A day later, a fleet quietly appeared in New World. The New World is turbulent, and the outcome may be in this battle, or the situation is still corrupt, but this time the war is inevitable, and the war will not be short. In comparison, Zhou Lin's side is much more leisurely. He controlled the cube to fly forward slowly, and the flying direction was naturally the direction pointed by the recording pointer. Zhou Lin actually doesn't have too many plans in his heart. After all, the plot will start 11 years later, and many things cannot be foreseen now. And when Wang Luffy really goes out to sea, the situation on the sea will be completely changed because of Zhou Lin's appearance. Therefore, Zhou Lin cannot judge based on the memory of the animation, but needs to collect more information. Of course, the most important thing is to become stronger first. The main purpose of entering the Grand Line is to hunt devil fruit and hockey, so as to make yourself stronger quickly, so that you will not be afraid. Then there will be more things to do. So, let's move forward slowly now, and see which unlucky person comes to the door. At this moment, there was a sudden sound above the head. Zhou Lin and Bonez looked up immediately, and saw a lion's head ship suddenly flying by at a higher altitude, and an island followed behind the ship. Hey hey hey, what kind of luck is this? I just met this guy when I entered the Grand Line. Zhou Lin didn't know whether he should be happy or not. Boss, who is so powerful that he can fly with the island with a big ship? Bonez asked curiously. He is one of the legendary great pirates who used to be as famous as Roger and Whitebeard, the admiral of the flying pirates, a lion fruit capable person, and golden lion Shiki. As famous as Roger and Whitebeard. Bonez's pupils shrank, and then quickly revealed an excited fighting spirit. Obviously, this inch-headed tough guy is not afraid of any legendary big pirates at all. Instead, he wants to fight such a big man, not only for the sake of becoming famous, but also for making himself stronger. Zhou Lin continued. However, the golden lion has become disabled now, and has also begun to age, and his strength has long been far inferior to before. Bonez asked directly, Boss, are we going to fight Golden Lion? Hehe, you can't wait. However, even if I don't want to fight, it probably won't work, because we have already been targeted by the other party. As Zhou Lin said, his eyes locked on a figure flying out of the lion's head ship. This man has blonde hair and beard, a ship's rudder is stuck above his head, and his crippled legs are tied with 2 knives as prosthetic limbs. Even in his old age, he is still majestic and majestic. It was the Golden Lion himself, no doubt. Gia ha 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 ha, who do I think it is? It turns out it's the little mouse that dug through the reversing mountain. Golden Lion laughed and said, Square boy, obviously you know my name, Golden Lion, and I also like your ability to make trouble. Why don't you follow me and I will lead you to dominate the sea? Zhou Lin shook his head decisively. No one will follow a big rooster with a broken leg. Golden Lion was taken aback for a moment, and then cursed angrily, You dare say I'm a big cock, are you courting death? Hehe, it's not certain who will die. Zhou Lin is not afraid of the Golden Lion. Although it is not a theatrical version now, the strength of the Golden Lion is indeed not as good as before, otherwise he would not hide in such a big era. Therefore, Zhou Lin is confident to defeat him. Moreover, Zhou Lin covets the Golden Lion's sword skills and lion fruit, and since he has encountered it, it is naturally impossible to let it go. At worst, run away when you lose. Arrogant kid, let me teach you how to behave. Slash wave. Golden Lion roared angrily, raised his foot and swept out a huge slash. The slash was so big that it seemed to split the entire sky in two. It was very terrifying. Bonez, however, couldn't restrain his fighting spirit for a long time. Without even asking Zhou Lin, he directly threw the moat slash at the huge slash. The result was no surprise. Poof. The huge slash directly tore through moat slash, and forcefully cut a deep wound on Bonez's chest. Blood spattered continuously, but luckily he did not die on the spot. It is probably also the reason why Golden Lion did not use his full strength. In addition, Bonez's fruit ability resisted most of the slashing power, and this saved his life. Zhou Lin didn't dare to be negligent, and quickly manipulated the cube to catch Bonez, but said with a smile, How is it? You have been baptized by the legendary great pirate just after entering the Grand Line, are you afraid? Bonez shook his head with a pale face, I'm not afraid, I only hate my lack of strength. Boss, I'm lagging behind. Zhou Lin shook his head slightly, leave it to me. I'll turn you into a cube and put it away first, otherwise I won't be able to protect you. Get a good night's sleep right now. After speaking, he quickly took out the medicine and smeared it on Bonnie's wound, and roughly bandaged it with gauze, regardless of whether Bonnie was in pain or not. Bonez, too, was tough and didn't even snort. Waiting for Zhou Lin to turn Bonez into a small cube and put it away, he looked at Golden Lion. Gia ha 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 ha. Have you saved your men? If you save them, go to hell. Lion, Thousand Slice Valley. The Golden Lion laughed, and quickly kicked out several huge slashes with his legs. Zhou Lin didn't dare to catch it hard, so he could only control the cube to dodge quickly. It's also rare for Golden Lion to talk about martial arts, and he didn't attack while Zhou Lin was bandaging Bonez. This may also be the pride of Golden Lion, his imposing big pirate doesn't even bother to attack. And it has to be said that the slashing strikes of the great swordsman, Golden Lion, are indeed extremely powerful. Those several slashes fell into the sea, and actually cut the sea water directly, forming a deep canyon, which could not be recovered for a long time. Zhou Lin didn't dodge all the time, but kept flying towards the Golden Lion, and then suddenly counterattacked. Tempest Kick Storm. Whoosh. Zhou Lin also swept his legs quickly, and the dense Tempest Kick slashed towards the Golden Lion. Although the power is not as powerful as Golden Lion's slash wave, Golden Lion hastily dodged. If he was hit by a slash, he would definitely be seriously injured. There is no luck. I didn't expect you to know the Marine 6 style's tricks, but I underestimated you. The Golden Lion was more cautious, and immediately flew towards Zhou Lin, using his feet to use swordsmanship, and the attack was swift and powerful. Zhou Lin also quickly drew out his knife and used Pika's murderous sword technique to resist the Golden Lion's attack with difficulty. It was still able to hold on at the beginning, but it quickly fell into a disadvantage after a long time. Sure enough, Golden Lion's swordsmanship is extremely powerful, definitely at the level of a great swordsman. Zhou Lin didn't dare to neglect, and tried his best to deal with it. In addition to Pika's swordsmanship, he also took out a bunch of small cubes to defend the vital parts. Even so, Zhou Lin was still scarred by the Golden Lion's attack. If it wasn't for the rough skin and thick flesh, I'm afraid he would have confessed long ago. The movie version is all deceitful. As a legendary great pirate, even if the Golden Lion's strength is not as good as before, it is impossible to deal with it so easily, at least not for Wong Luffy. Fortunately, Golden Lion's brain is not good, so he gave up his two-handed swordsmanship and changed to two-legged swordsmanship, otherwise he must be stronger. It seems that I have to use all my strength to defeat this lion, and then absorb his sword skills. Then my strength will be stronger, and I will have more confidence in my actions. Zhou Lin thought to himself, and then began to retreat consciously. He didn't flinch because he found that the Golden Lion was stronger than he imagined, but he wanted to defeat the Golden Lion even more. And he also has advantages. For example, his physical strength is definitely stronger than Golden Lion, and his endurance is definitely stronger, so he can definitely consume Golden Lion alive. Swish. Zhou Lin retreated abruptly, opening the distance between himself and the Golden Lion. Then he grabbed the air with his palm, compressing the air 10 meters around him instantly into a palm-sized cube, and then threw it directly at the Golden Lion. Eat my air cube. Call out. The air cube hits the Golden Lion's head like a baseball. Golden Lion showed contempt on his face, and raised the famous sword Sakura 10 on his leg, intending to push the air cube aside, but when Sakura 10 touched the air cube, Golden Lion's expression changed suddenly. Boom! The air cube exploded suddenly. Golden Lion was blown to blood on the spot because his feet were too close, and Sakura 10 was also blown off his leg. The billowing explosion shock wave directly lifted Golden Lion into the air, and Golden Lion also spewed out a mouthful of blood on the spot. Obviously, the explosion of the air cube did him a lot of damage. Impossible. How could a mere air explosion have such power? Golden Lion's face was full of disbelief. Hee, nothing is impossible. That's an explosion caused by compressing 1,000 cubic meters of air into the size of a palm. However, Zhou Lin's voice suddenly appeared beside Golden Lion, and the punch the size of a sandbag followed. The powerful punch made the sound of piercing through the air, causing Golden Lion's pupils to shrink. So Golden Lion raised his hands and crossed them in front of him without hesitation. Armament hockey was still wrapped around his forearm. In the next second, fists hit his arms. Boom! There was an explosion like thunder. Click! The slight bone cracking sound was so crisp. Golden Lion's complexion changed, and he quickly raised his foot tied with the dead wood of the famous knife and swept out a slash wave, forcing Zhou Lin to back away. However, Zhou Lin flashed up to the fallen Sakura 10, and grabbed the famous sword in his hand, with a look of joy on his face. Although the original theatrical version didn't say it clearly, the famous knife used by a big pirate like Golden Lion is also a big fast knife, and now this big fast knife belongs to him, Zhou Lin. And not only this one, but another one too. Give me back Sakura 10. Golden Lion yelled angrily, then raised his foot and sent another slash wave. If you say you want to pay me back, then I will. Don't I lose face? Zhou Lin dodged with a smile. He was used to the slash wave attack, and it was easy to dodge, and it didn't prevent him from admiring famous swords. So this is Sakura 10. Zhou Lin stroked the blade, feeling the difference between a famous sword and an ordinary sword, and couldn't put it down even more. The only thing I don't like is that this knife has been strapped to the Golden Lion's bloody leg for many years, and the handle has long been corroded. And there is no scabbard. It seems that after defeating the Golden Lion, you have to find the scabbard. Give me back my knife, you fool. Golden Lion was furious. It was the first time he was taken away by someone in a battle. It was a shame. So the lion fruit's ability was activated, and he wanted to suck the knife directly, but Zhou Lin held the handle tightly, making Sakura unable to move at all. It is obvious that Zhou Lin's physical strength is higher than that of Golden Lion. Hehe, I know you have touched Sakura 10, so the fruit ability can definitely be manipulated. How could it be possible for you to succeed? Zhou Lin smiled proudly, and also activated the fruit ability, turning Sakura 10 into a small cube, and put it away directly, so that the Golden Lion would never want to get the knife back again. Ah, brat, I'm going to kill you. How could the Golden Lion bear the humiliation of grabbing the knife, so he simply pulled the dead wood off his feet, and raised the knife to kill Zhou Lin. Zhou Lin continued to use Pika's murderous swordsmanship, and at the same time cooperated with Marine 6 styles to continue to deal with it. Although Golden Lion is unparalleled in swordsmanship, his one-handed swordsmanship is much worse than his two-handed swordsmanship, and he couldn't beat Zhou Lin for a while. Moreover, as time passed, Golden Lion's physical strength became a bit too much, and he was already out of breath. Relying on his youth and strength, Zhou Lin survived a wave of attacks from the Golden Lion, and then brazenly launched a counterattack, forcing the Golden Lion to keep retreating. The Golden Lion gritted his teeth, and simply controlled the small island behind the lion ship to smash towards Zhou Lin. Zhou Lin didn't dare to take the attack of an island, but turned over and landed on the island. Unexpectedly, the Golden Lion followed and slapped the ground, and the ground began to change. Lion Majesty. Earth Coiling. The lion fruit ability was activated, and the earth and rocks on the ground suddenly turned into 3 huge stone lions. The stone lions opened their bloody mouths and bit Zhou Lin. Zhou Lin quickly dodged and also slapped the ground. HMPH. Do you think I can't do this trick? Come out, cube giant soldiers. When the cubic fruit ability was activated, the soil and rocks on the ground immediately turned into cubes of different sizes, and then quickly assembled under Zhou Lin's control. They turned into 3 giant soldiers as tall as stone lions in the blink of an eye. Many small squares can still be seen on the giant soldier, but this does not affect the lifelike and majestic appearance of the giant soldier. As soon as Zhou Lin moved his mind, the 3 giant soldiers rushed towards the 3 stone lions, and smashed their huge fists fiercely on the stone lions' heads. The stone lion also roared, and its huge claws rushed forward, colliding with the giant soldier's fist, and then the claws and fist shattered at the same time. After all, they are all earth and rocks, so it is normal for them to shatter under such a strong collision. However, Zhou Lin and Golden Lion continued to use the fruit ability, and the shattered claws and fists recovered quickly, and then continued to attack. For a while, the giant soldiers and the stone lions fought in complete darkness. It's just that, at the beginning, they were not on the same level, but after a long time, Golden Lion discovered something was wrong. Because the giant soldiers controlled by Zhou Lin seemed to be more flexible, they can easily dodge the stone lion's attack, and counterattack when they get the chance, knocking the stone lion back continuously. It shouldn't be. Golden Lion can't believe it. He's been using Lion Majesty, Earth Coiling for decades, but he can't beat this kid's cube giant soldier. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. However, Zhou Lin seemed very leisurely. After all, this is similar to playing games. He used to control characters with controllers or keyboards, but now he uses his mind to control giant soldiers, which is even more handy. There's nothing like a gamer on a wild rampage like Golden Lion. However, Zhou Lin was not satisfied with such a war of attrition. He continued to make other things, such as making a bunch of cube men, and then put air cubes in the cube humans to make creepers carrying explosives in MC. Creating creepers out of blocks is so easy, 50 of them were made in the blink of an eye. Then control the creeper to go around outside the battle circle of the giant soldier and the stone lion, and besiege the golden lion together. Go, creeper, kill the golden lion, Zhou Lin yelled, and suddenly accelerated the speed of the creeper, and the creeper rushed towards the golden lion desperately. In fact, the creeper has no life, so it is impossible to be afraid of death. Moreover, creepers are easy to control and do not require much energy and strength. This is why Zhou Lin can create and control so many creepers at once. Naturally, Golden Lion also saw the process of making creepers. Seeing a group of block zombies rushing towards him, he couldn't help but feel horrified for a while. So he made 3 more golden lions to protect himself, and manipulated the stone lions to slap creepers. It's just that when the stone lion's claw knocked down the creeper exploded, and the violent explosion directly shattered the stone lion's claw. But the other creepers took the opportunity to rush forward and successfully jumped to the side of Golden Lion. The Golden Lion's complexion changed, and he quickly flew into the air, but the creeper also jumped up and successfully hugged the Golden Lion's broken leg. The next second, boom! The violent explosion was accompanied by the screams of the Golden Lion. Amidst the smoke and dust, Golden Lion was extremely embarrassed. Not only were his clothes torn, but his body was also dripping with blood. It can be seen that the explosion caused him extremely high damage. Because of this, those stone lions lost control and were directly blown up by the cube giant soldiers. Go, kill the Golden Lion. Zhou Lin controlled the giant soldier to rush forward, and his huge fist directly smashed into the smoke and dust. This is the disadvantage of not mastering observation hockey, and there was no trace of the Golden Lion in the smoke and dust. As a result, it was obvious that the giant soldier's attack failed. Golden Lion flew out of the smoke and dust, and flew higher and higher, and then suddenly made a huge slash with the dead wood. Click! The whole island was actually divided into 2. Zhou Lin couldn't help but gasped. He didn't expect the Golden Lion to have such power. Luckily he flashed in time just now, otherwise he would definitely be doomed. However, the cube giants and creepers were completely annihilated by this knife. Fortunately, it can be made casually, so there is no need to worry. Now it depends on how much power the Golden Lion still has. It will be easy to fight. The only requirement is not to let the Golden Lion run away. Today, the Golden Lion must be turned into a cube. Ah, I am a mighty Golden Lion, how could I lose to you, a brat? Lion Majesty. Earth coiling. The Golden Lion was a bit crazy, outputting its fruit power at full capacity. The island that had just been divided into 2 turned into 2 stone lions covering the sky and the sun, and its claws as big as sea kings suddenly swept towards Zhou Lin. Zhou Lin quickly dodged, but he didn't have time. The Golden Lion's sudden eruption was too fast. The 2 stone lions not only had big claws, but also swung them extremely fast. Zhou Lin was caught on the spot when he didn't react in time. Zhou Lin flew straight out, with blood overflowing from the corner of his mouth. Golden Lion laughed wildly, thinking that Zhou Lin was dead. However, Zhou Lin's physical body is too strong now. How could he die because of this claw? Even though it looks like he has suffered internal injuries, it is not very serious. Just this claw, it can't compare to Garp's armed punch. Golden Lion, you must die today. I said so. Zhou Lin turned over and stood on a cube again. He carried a lot of cubes with him, so he didn't worry about falling from the sky at all. Golden Lion's eyes widened suddenly. How is that possible? Why are you fine? Zhou Lin sneered. Hee hee, you are really old, and your strength has regressed to such a point. Let me tell you, your attack with all your strength just now is not as good as Garp's random punch. Garp is 100 times stronger than you, and I survived Garp. How could I be afraid of you? You're talking nonsense. Garp isn't that powerful. He's about as strong as me. Golden Lion retorted loudly. Ha ha ha, so you've been hiding for too long. Zhou Lin continued to taunt. During the 10 years you have been hiding, Garp's strength has become more and more refined. As for you, not only was your strength affected by the rudder, but also lost your legs, disabled and sick. You are no longer Garp. Let's see how much hockey you can use now. Can you still use Armor Color Blast? Can you still use Conqueror's Coil? Golden Lion couldn't help shaking, and almost fell from the air. Even if he didn't want to admit it, he couldn't deny that what Jolin said was true. That's right, he can't even use his weaponry now, so how could he be Garp's opponent? He has degenerated to the point where it is very strenuous even to fight a brat who has just entered the Grand Line, and he has a premonition that he will die at the hands of this brat today. The great legendary pirate died at the hands of a fledgling kid. Ha ha ha, how ironic. Jolin saw the sadness in the Golden Lion's eyes, and finally he didn't speak provocatively anymore. No matter how powerful it is ultimately no match for two things, one is illness and the other is years. Roger lost to illness, while both Golden Lion and Whitebeard lost to time. This is not a tragedy, but a deep helplessness. However, someone defeated these two things and became the real god of this world. That person is the supreme ruler of this world. I am, the god of celestial dragons. It's just that it's too early to talk about I am, and Jolin doesn't want to face this monster so early. And the most important thing now is to defeat the Golden Lion first. While the Golden Lion was in a daze, Jolin started to create air cubes frantically, and then threw them at the Golden Lion at high speed. Golden Lion also reacted and kept dodging, but the block was controlled by Jolin, and when it exploded was naturally up to Jolin to decide. Even if the Golden Lion avoids it, as long as the distance is close enough, it will explode. Explode, 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 boom, boom, boom. The violent explosion set off a terrible shock wave, and Golden Lion was in the shock wave, and the body that had already begun to weaken was severely injured again. After dodging a few times, he couldn't even exert his strength. Boom! An air cube exploded in front of the Golden Lion, and the Golden Lion was immediately bloody, and the whole person vomited blood crazily. But the Golden Lion suddenly came back to life, and roared straight to the sky, "Square boy! Today I lost to you, you must become the strongest in this sea, or I will never let you go." Jolin sighed and nodded, "Don't worry, I will definitely climb to the top of the sea." Gia ha 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 ha. That's how it should be. If I am defeated by you, I will not die unjustly. Gia ha 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 ha. Roger, Lousy has come to look for you, and in the world after death, Lousy will still fight for hegemony with you. After shouting a sentence, he died on the spot. Not only the body began to fall, but the lion ship and the two halves of the island also fell. Golden Lion, really dead. Jolin hurriedly flew over to turn the Golden Lion's body into a cube, and disassembled the cube in time, lest the lion fruit would run away. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, he continued to fly to the lion ship, killed all the people on board, and then successfully found the scabbards of two famous knives, and he was really satisfied. But thinking about this ship is not bad, so I turned this ship into a small cube and put it away. Sure enough, cube fruit is really convenient. As for the air islands collected by the Golden Lion and the civilians on the islands, Jolin has nothing to do. After all, he doesn't know where the Golden Lion is placed. I can only pray that those civilians are okay. The most important thing now is to find the island to rest and see if Bonez is dead. He took out the pointer and looked at it, and then flew forward in the direction of the pointer. Fortunately, he saw a deserted island after a while. After checking, he found no one, so he landed on the deserted island. At the same time, a lot of islands suddenly dropped somewhere in the Grand Line. Many ferocious beasts appear on the island, and some civilians seem to live on the island. This matter is not small. Marine immediately sent people to investigate and reported it to the headquarters. It's just that Naval Headquarters is preparing for battle at this time, and they don't care about other things at all. It also happened that no one would notice Jolin because of this. Jolin has released Bonez. Unexpectedly, Bonez has become energetic after sleeping. As expected, the physique of a tough guy is pervert, which cannot be judged by common sense. "Boss, teach me hockey," Bonez said proactively. Of course, Jolin readily agreed. When he was on the road before, Jolin had already spread the knowledge of Marine 6 styles and hockey to Bonesco. Bonez was not very interested in Marine 6 styles, but focused on armament hockey. After all, this is Jolin's means to break through Bonez's defense. Now that Bonez was hit by the Golden Lion again, he didn't give up on himself, but made more progress, which made Jolin very pleased. So, Lin started beating Bonez with armament hockey. As the saying goes, if you want to learn to beat people, you must be beaten first. I believe that with Bonez's understanding, he will definitely be able to understand armament hockey while being beaten. Lin has confidence in Bonez. Just remembering that Bonez went to receive the Golden Lion's slash before, Lin couldn't help feeling a little scared. He managed to get an excellent subordinate. If he was slaughtered by the Golden Lion like this, it would be a big loss. Fortunately, Bonez was lucky, otherwise Lin would cry to death. After beating up Bonez with armament hockey, Lin sealed himself in the cave. Then decisively took out the hockey cube. The hockey square can be subdivided into three. One is the armed color square, which is absorbed directly, and the other two are the knowledge color square and the conqueror's square. A big pirate like Golden Lion, no matter how much he loses his strength, at least he still has knowledge and conquerors. However, these two hockey are very weak. Lin thought for a while, and first decomposed and absorbed observation hockey, just like integrating it into a skill block. This process must be careful and there must be no mistakes. After all, knowledge and knowledge are related to perception, and it still involves the soul to some extent. And when the observation hockey cube entered the body, Lin's own observation hockey also awakened. Then, the foreign knowledge-colored squares were absorbed. Lin was still thinking while absorbing, if the knowledge-colored cube absorbs enough, it should be able to predict the future. And if you absorb too much, you may be able to predict the next hour, day, or even a week. Wouldn't that make you a magic stick, bluffing and deceiving everywhere? Ah, that's not right, it should be a wise man who can strategize and win a decisive victory thousands of miles away. Thinking of this, Lin can't wait to enter New World. After all, most pirates who know hockey are in New World. Soon, the knowledge-colored cube was absorbed, and Lin looked at the Conqueror's cube again, gritted his teeth and disassembled the cube, and then began to integrate into the soul from the brow. Conqueror's hockey is an imposing manner of a person, which is said to be innate. Lin felt that he must have one too, so he decided to take a gamble. As the Conqueror's cube entered the soul immediately had a strong sense of repulsion, but the Conqueror's cube refused to leave under Lin's control, which immediately aroused the soul's strong resistance. In the next second, Lin felt a burst of enlightenment in his soul, as if something had awakened. A palpitating power spread from the soul, and the animals on the deserted island fell to the ground one after another, and even Bonez's hair stood on end. However, Bonez felt that the source of his power was his boss, so he was not afraid at once. Instead, I thought in my heart, as expected of the boss, it's too scary. At this time, Lin successfully awakened the Conqueror's hockey, directly subdued the Conqueror's block that entered the soul, and then devoured it. The newly awakened Conquerors also began to grow. A person's Conqueror's hockey grows continuously by virtue of acquired momentum, but now Lin is directly devouring other people's Conquerors, which is really outrageous. It's a pity that there were not many Conquerors cubes in Golden Lion, and they were swallowed up in a short time. Tisk. Golden Lion is really useless. After escaping from Impel Down, he has shrunk for 10 years. Even hockey has shrunk to this point. Lin is obviously disgusted, but he is still very happy in his heart. After all, he has successfully mastered the Conqueror's hockey now, and he has entered the ranks of the strong. But what Lin cares more about is Golden Lion's skill cube and memory cube. Lin must absorb the skill block including the sword skill block, so that he should be able to obtain the sword skills of the great swordsman and successfully rank among the great swordsmen. In addition, the memory cube is also very important. What Lin wants to read is the fighting style of the Golden Lion. Golden Lion, as the super pirate who once dominated the New World, must know many things, such as armed color release and Conqueror's entanglement. Lin does not believe that Golden Lion can't. If not, how would he fight Roger pirates? Isn't that a joke? So Lin no longer hesitated, and began to decompose the skill cube and memory cube, but one must be careful when decomposing the memory cube, as many useless memories do not need to be absorbed, otherwise it will easily lead to confusion. For the next 5 days, Lin didn't come out. Bonez didn't feel that something happened to his boss, but silently stayed on the deserted island, went hunting when he was hungry, and continued to comprehend armament hockey when he was full. Needless to say, Lin's previous beatings worked. Moreover, Bonus's comprehension ability is also extremely high. He used the armed color once 50 times in 5 days. It has to be said that this talent is truly incomparable. No matter how expressionless Bonus was, he couldn't help showing joy at this moment. It happened that Jolin came out of the cave with a pale face at this moment. First, I checked Bonus's homework and found that Bonus had successfully awakened armament hockey within 5 days, so I just need to continue to get familiar with it. Jolin was very happy, encouraged Bonus a few words, and then decided to practice on a desert island for a month. The purpose is naturally for Bonus to consolidate armament hockey's grasp. Moreover, Jolin had just absorbed all of Golden Lion's skill cubes and memory cubes. Although he was very tired, he couldn't stop his enthusiasm for cultivation. So in the following days, Bonus witnessed the strength of his boss. What the hell is a sword splitting half of the island? What kind of operation is it to punch out a tsunami? Anyway, it subverted Bonus's 3 views. At this time, Bonus finally believed what Jolin said, that Garp can really smash an island with one punch, because Jolin can do it too. At this time, Jolin was very excited. Golden Lion has brought too many surprises. First of all, this awesome two-handed swordsmanship is definitely a great swordsman, but I don't know if he can beat Hawkeye. The other is the use of hockey. Golden Lion really has the memory of armed color release and Conqueror's entanglement. It's just that Golden Lion can't use it after he escaped from prison, otherwise Jolin would never be able to beat him. It's just right now, it's all cheaper Jolin. Hee, now I have very pervert physical fitness, plus the swordsmanship of a great swordsman, plus advanced hockey skills, just ask who else. However, observation hockey is still far behind. It seems that we will focus on hunting observation hockey in the future. It's a pity that Enel hasn't arrived at Sky Island yet. Otherwise, I can turn Enel into a cube. That guy's knowledge color is very powerful, and I can definitely make my knowledge color complete evolution. Jolin continued to practice his skills while thinking. Jolin didn't plan to leave until everything in his memory was at his fingertips. Meanwhile, the battle for the New World has begun. Crocodile fought back and forth with the captains of the Whitebeard pirates alone. Although he had to face the threat of hockey, Logia's ability is very good, which is where Crocodile's confidence lies. Whitebeard, you coward, dare you come and fight me? Crocodile yelled. The so-called overlord of the New World is nothing more than that. He knows how to hide behind and watch the show. If you don't make a move, I will kill your son. Whitebeard was furious when he heard the words, and jumped towards Crocodile with his naginata in hand. Get out of the way, let me teach this brat who doesn't know the heights of the sky and the earth with my own hands. Whitebeard yelled angrily, his left fist was wrapped in a white circle, and then he punched suddenly. With a click, the atmosphere broke like a mirror. The terrifying concussion hit Crocodile directly. Crocodile spurted blood on the spot, and before he could even elementalize, he was seriously injured by one blow. But Crocodile is also a ruthless person, resisting the severe pain to become elemental again, rushing towards Whitebeard. Whitebeard, die! Desert blade. Swish. A huge sand blade swung at Whitebeard, trying to drain Whitebeard dry. Whitebeard laughed loudly and said, if you want to kill me Whitebeard, you are not qualified. You dare to make trouble on my territory, let you leave something as a lesson. As he said that, he smashed the desert sword with one punch, and then suddenly stretched out his hand to capture Crocodile. Crocodile couldn't move, and was thrown into the air by Whitebeard. He originally wanted to dodge elementally, but found that he was caught by Whitebeard's power and couldn't move. Is this the strongest person in the world? It's scary. Crocodile murmured, but Whitebeard's naginata had already swung, and with a puff, Crocodile's left wrist was severed. Crocodile immediately screamed, "Ah! My hand! Whitebeard, how dare you cut off my hand?" But Whitebeard punched again, "Get out! If you dare to make trouble again, I will beat you to death." Boom! Crocodile was blown away and fell into the sea, never to be seen again. On the other side, Wano-kuni. Moria heard the news of Marine's gathering, and in order not to benefit Marine, she only had a brief fight with Foz Fao, and then retreated immediately. At this time, Moria is still in high spirits, but she is not weak, and she is also very smart. He wants to defeat Kaido, develop Wano-kuni as a territory, and then become bigger and stronger to achieve hegemony. But Kaido didn't show up, and Marine was staring at her. Moria is not a fool, and there is no benefit in continuing to fight, so she chooses to retreat temporarily. On Wanguo's side, her sons and daughters wiped out the enemies of the future before the ant even made a move. The ant is very satisfied with this. She has been committed to creating a big family country, and the children she gave birth to have the blood of every race. She also feels that racial discrimination has been completely eliminated in her country. And her country is so powerful that no one can shake it. She felt that she had fulfilled the nun's wish. So, she can happily eat dessert. The Marine fleet has already entered New World, and has also set up a battle. It turns out that Crocodile has been defeated, Moria has retreated, and all nations are safe, so Marine is lonely. Sengoku also didn't expect that the battle would end so quickly, thanks to him looking forward to it so much. It's just that everyone has come, how could it be possible to return home without a feather? And this is equivalent to Sengoku's last battle, because after becoming a marshal, he will have to sit in the headquarters all the time, and it is impossible to go to sea at will. Therefore, Sengoku cherishes this battle very much. So he changed the battle plan without hesitation, cleaned the site close to the red line, directly regained a large area of the site, and severely wiped out a wave of presence. After scanning for almost a month, Sengoku returned to the headquarters contentedly. But it made Kizaru stay, while continuing to hunt down the Sun Pirates, while continuing to clean up New World. Of course, it is enough to clean up New World. Just take care of the franchise countries of New World as much as possible, and not too close to the territory of Whitebeard, Kaido and Big Mom, otherwise conflicts will easily arise. Although Marine is strong, he is not willing to go to war with the three big pirate groups for the time being. Because of this, the three big pirate groups have a vague tendency to become the overlord of the New World, and the reputation of the three emperors has also begun to become louder. And another future emperor is still teasing girls in Fengche village at this time, seemingly not concerned about the situation in New World at all, but no one knows that the red hair is more concerned about the child who ate the rubber fruit. In a month, Bonus's armament hockey finally consolidated. Although the duration is short, at least it can be used proficiently, and there will be no situation where it cannot be used intermittently. And Zhou Lin is even more pervert. He trained himself crazily and successfully mastered Golden Lion's sword skills, armed color release and Conqueror's winding. Now he just wants to shout out who else is there. Based on Zhou Lin's own judgment, he should not be afraid of Marine Admiral now, which means he can wander around. That being the case, what are you waiting for? Boss, where are we going next? Bonus rarely took the initiative to communicate with the boss. Go to a place where there are people and buy a newspaper first, and see what the situation is now. Zhou Lin immediately manipulated the cube and left the deserted island. It didn't take long for Zhou Lin to take Bonus to a small town, but he didn't know the name of the town, and the people in the small town subconsciously stayed away when they saw Zhou Lin. It seems that he recognized Zhou Lin as the bounty offender. However, the people in the small town did not panic too much, maybe they are used to the existence of bounty criminals. Zhou Lin successfully bought the newspaper and couldn't help but think about it after reading it. Now that the decisive battle between Moria and Kaido has not yet started, Moria will not return from New World for the time being. However, Crocodile lost to Whitebeard and should be back in the first half of the Grand Line, with Pluton still on the lookout. So grab the devil fruit from Sand Crocodile next. Zhou Lin made a decision immediately. Crocodile will become Shichibukai after returning, and then choose to develop in Alabasta, and will soon form a Baroque work society. But now Bonus has become Zhou Lin's subordinate, and Robin will definitely not follow Crocodile. Crocodile's plan to build a country lacks many helpers. But with Crocodile as a person, it is definitely impossible to give up easily. In order to prevent him from staring at Robin, it is better to kill him first. It happens that sand fruit is also very good. I believe Drago will make good use of it. As for Alabasta, Zhou Lin didn't know how to use it either. The royal family of Alabasta is the only family that did not choose to join the Celestial Dragons, and still guards the old land, guarding the historical text that records the secrets of Pluton. The current king, Cobra, must know part of the truth of history. However, Zhou Lin is not interested in history, but thinking about how to unite Alabasta to fight against the world government together. Of course, if Cobra refuses to unite, then find a way to usurp the throne, such as becoming a son-in-law or something. It's just that the Princess Vivi is still a child now, such an idea would be too much punishment. Forget it, let's take one step at a time, and at worst, let Drago take care of it. Zhou Lin threw this thought to the back of his mind. In fact, he is not good at conspiracies and schemes to usurp the throne. Instead, he prefers to make troubles by himself, because once he is out of play, he can run away without fear at all. If you succeed in usurping the throne and claiming the title of king, there will be a country involved, and there will be many scruples in doing things. Sure enough, he still prefers to follow his own style. Zhou Lin was not in a hurry to leave the town, but after many inquiries, he found the boundary of the black market and spent a lot of money to buy a lot of information. Although I don't like the rules of the underground world, but before changing the world, I can still get some convenience through the rules of the underground world, and the payment is only money. It's really worth it. And as long as the money is in place, the information in the underground world will generally not lie to you. The Don Quixote pirates have entered the Grand Line. Doflamingo really can't wait. Zhou Lin looked at the information and sneered, now that Shichibukai is not fully determined, Doflamingo must be playing for the quota. His approach is to rob the sky and make money. If this is the case, how can I not get involved? After making up his mind, Zhou Lin spent money to buy the location information of the Don Quixote pirates. Then fly towards the destination with bonus. What Zhou Lin didn't know was that Doflamingo was also buying information through underground channels. In addition to Zhou Lin's location information, there was also a country's heavenly gold information. Hey, next year will be the World Summit. This year, the heavenly gold donated by various countries must be rich. As long as you grab the heavenly gold, you should be able to use it as a bargaining chip to exchange for a Shichibukai quota. 7 Warlords of the Sea is really a perfect system. A person standing in the middle of black and white is not the most suitable identity for underground business. This quota, I must be one. Let me stir up the world. After the Don Quixote pirates locked a country's heavenly gold route, they immediately started to do it. Unbeknownst to Doflamingo, the praying mantis catches the cicada and the oriole follows. The first half of the Grand Line, the Kingdom of Capet Frank. This is a small island country with a population of less than 10,000 people. It is better to say that it is just a larger town than a country. When Zhou Lin and Bonez arrived in this country, they saw dilapidated civilian areas and skinny commoners, as well as glamorous nobles who discarded food as garbage. The gap between rich and poor in this country is huge. Obviously, the rich life of the nobility comes from blood-sucking taxes on the common people. Yes, not only sucking the blood of civilians, but also riding on the heads of civilians to show off their power, treating civilians as livestock that can be squeezed and driven at will. In this world, this situation occurs in many countries, but it is especially obvious in the Kingdom of Capet Frank. Zhou Lin saw the numbness in the eyes of the civilians, but it was no surprise that many people had a flash of desire to resist in their numb eyes. They have been used to being oppressed for a long time, and they must be told. All people are born equal, no one is born nobler than anyone else. Whoever oppresses us, we should stand up and resist. With a plan in mind, Zhou Lin began to think carefully about the method of operation, but before that, he had to destroy Doflamingo's plan first. The reason why I came to Cape Franchise is because the gold in the sky that the Don Quixote pirates are going to grab belongs to this country. Zhou Lin also specifically inquired that the Kingdom of Capet Frank had just joined the world government franchise country in these years. During the process, King Robert Wullian used his huge wealth to climb the high branch of celestial dragons. It's just that Capet Frank is just a small country, how can there be so much wealth? Therefore, after successfully becoming one of the franchise countries, the king chose to hand over a larger amount of money in order to be eligible to attend the World Government Conference next year. Where does the money come from? Of course it sucks blood from civilians. In the eyes of the royal family and the nobles, common people are simply livestock, and their wealth, life, and even future will all be controlled by them, so it is only natural for them to take money from common people. Little did they know, people were already on the verge of an outbreak. As long as anyone sparks a spark, this country will explode. Dorag hasn't moved yet, but the state of this country is so handsome that I can't help but want to do it. Then let me try it in my own way. After Zhou Lin learned about the situation in the kingdom of Capone, he was a little eager to try. I also thought about uniting Alabasta before, but Alabasta is a big country, and the relationship with celestial dragons is too close, so it is still difficult to start. Just in time, take this Capone to practice your hands. While sorting out his thoughts, Zhou Lin wiped the two big sharp knives Sakura Ten and Deadwood. The handles of the two knives have been replaced, and they have been specially maintained. Now they are rejuvenated with the beauty of the big fast knives, and they look very charming. Such a good knife, it was ruined by the Golden Lion. Zhou Lin plans to use armament hockey to raise two swords from now on. With his increasingly powerful armament color, he should be able to quickly turn the two swords into black swords. One day, there will definitely be two more supremely fast knives in the world. Boss, I found out. Bonez finally came back. The ships transporting the gold in the sky from the kingdom of Capone set sail yesterday. There were 10 escort ships and 500 guards. Moreover, Burr, the captain of the country's guard, personally led the team. This Burr is an ability user in the form of a monkey fruit gorilla, and his boxing skills are quite good, and he has guarded this country for 10 years and has not let pirates break through the dock. Zhou Lin was suddenly surprised. Oh, Capone is still such a master. How is he? It is said that he has a sense of justice and often uses his own money to help civilians, making his life quite embarrassing. He also stood up against the king's policies many times, but was dismissed every time. If it wasn't for the king, he would still rely on his force. Perhaps he has been expelled or even wiped out long ago. Yeah, this person can be put to good use. Zhou Lin didn't let Bonez inquire about these things in idleness. Since they want to take action against this country, they naturally need to learn more about it. Now that they have inquired about it, the Don Quixote family has already taken action, so it is natural to start taking action here. Zhou Lin manipulated the cube and took Bonez to fly in the direction of the Golden Fleet in the sky. It didn't take too long to catch up with the fleet. At this time, the fleet was stopped by the big ship of the Don Quixote pirates, and Doflamingo was standing on the bow with several cadres, with a very cold smile on his face. Oh, it's not too early or too late, just let me see Doflamingo's operation. Zhou Lin watched the show in the air in his spare time. He piled up a wall with air cubes to block himself and Bonez. These air cubes will not explode, but they can refract light, making people and things behind the wall invisible. Hard to spot unless scanned with observation hockey. This is also a move developed by Zhou Lin, and it happens to be used now. It is estimated that Doflamingo did not expect that he was being stared at by the big enemy openly, and his actions were completely expected by the big enemy. Go, kill everyone, leave the guard captain to me. Doflamingo gave the order immediately, and Torrebel immediately led Gladius, Lao Ji, Mahabasis, Senor Peak and others to attack the escort ship. I saw Torrebel jumping onto the nearest boat, squirting mucus chains from his hands frantically, trapping all the guards in an instant. Seeing that Gladius jumped onto another ship, he slapped the deck, causing the deck to swell, and then the deck exploded, causing heavy casualties to the guards of the ship. And Lao Ji is also very powerful, with back pain punches rampaging on the boat. No one is an opponent. The other cadres also showed their special abilities, beating the guards to the point where they were helpless. The captain of the guard, Burr, looked extremely ugly. He didn't expect someone to make money from the sky, not to mention that it was a tribute to the celestial dragons, but it was the blood and sweat of the people. Burr didn't want to be snatched away by these pirates. Burr is not stupid. He can think that once this batch of heavenly gold is robbed, the king will definitely stretch out his claws to the people again. The people, who were already on the verge of collapse, are afraid that they will explode directly. He couldn't help it. He knew that the king's actions were wrong, and he knew that the royal family and the nobles didn't treat the citizens as human beings, but he didn't know what to do. The only thing he can do is to fight for the people as much as possible. But he doesn't know that it is useless to reason with the exploiting class. On the contrary, he will be used. Isn't he being used to escort the gold in the sky now? He is escorting the hard-earned money of the people and giving it to the celestial dragons who eat people and don't spit out their bones. You pirates are all killed. I will kill you all. Burr's eyes were blood red, and he took the initiative to fly from the ship carrying the gold in the sky to the pirate ship. In the sky, He turned into a gorilla, and punched Doflamingo fiercely with his huge fist. And yet Doflamingo was still smiling, with a relaxed smile. Then he slightly raised his hand and bent his middle finger slightly, and Burr was stuck in the air and couldn't move. Bolton knew the difference in strength at the time, but he still wanted to struggle crazily, but it didn't help. He couldn't be Doflamingo's opponent at all. In midair, Bonez looked at Jolin with words in his eyes. "Boss, when do you do it?" Jolin shook his head lightly. "Not yet." Not long after, the Heavenly Gold guards were all wiped out. Only Burr was still standing in the air, unable to move, watching the guards being killed one by one, with sadness and despair flashing in his eyes. "Capet Frank, it's over." At this time, Torebel came out of the golden ship in the sky and handed Doflamingo a devil fruit covered with spiral patterns. "Dover, I didn't expect that there was a devil fruit in this batch of heavenly gold." Torebel was obviously a little excited. "Oh, show me." Doflamingo took a look, and suddenly smiled even more. "Yup. I didn't expect it to be a golden fruit. It's really a good thing. It just so happens that we still lack an item to attract buyers in the Sabayati Archipelago auction. The golden fruit will keep guests flocking. Dover wants to sell the golden fruit. The golden fruit is very good. Dover probably won't sell it." "Nah, Dover won't sell it. Torebel, don't get too close to you." Doflamingo dismissed the snot-nosed man away. "Of course such a good thing won't be sold, it's just to attract customers." Jolin, who was in midair, couldn't help but be taken aback. "I didn't expect to meet Jinjingwo here, and it really didn't come in vain. But it seems that the Golden Emperor Tezzolo has not been able to eat the golden fruit yet, and now that Jolin has met him, it can only be said that this fruit has no chance with Tezzolo. Jolin wants to take this fruit, and the Revolutionary Army can use this fruit to find gold mines in the future. That way you don't have to worry about money." "My lord, what to do with this monkey?" Gladius pointed at Burr and asked. Hey, keep it for now, I'll see if I can tame it." Doflamingo knew that Burr had some strengths, and he originally looked down on him, but since the loss of Pika, the problem of manpower shortage has also been exposed. Pika is the head of the 4 cadres. Regardless of strength or ability to handle affairs, they are all first class, which is unmatched by 10,000 miscellaneous fish. But such a capable subordinate was actually killed by that Jolin, and with Rocinante's betrayal, the Don Quixote family today can be described as leaky, not as easy as before. Therefore, Doflamingo has to consider the growth of the family. Burr immediately shouted angrily when he heard the words, "I can't join the pirates." "You are dreaming." Doflamingo moved his finger, and Burr suddenly found himself punching uncontrollably, which immediately made Burr realize that something was wrong. Hey, did you see that? You will be controlled by me, and you will kill the people." "Don't. You can't do this. Citizens are innocent." "Then, if you choose to join my family, I promise you that you will not do anything to the citizens of your country. If you refuse, I will not be merciful. You should think about it first." Quote. Burr closed his eyes in pain. He really wanted to die now, but he couldn't control himself. Doflamingo took out another phone bug and dialed out, "Yap. 5 elders. I robbed the heavenly gold of the Cape Franchi kingdom." I have to say, Doflamingo is very smart. He deliberately chose Cape Franc, just because this country has just joined the world government soon. Although it is only a dispensable small country, and it is still a small transparent country that has just joined, if the world government ignores this small country, it will cause chaos in the participating countries. The franchise countries will definitely think, if your world government doesn't care about Capet Franc this time, will it ignore me next time? So what's the point of me joining a franchise country? If other pirates learn Doflamingo, how can we pay the gold in the sky? If Tiantianjin is robbed, is it ours or the pirates? That's a question 5 elders has to think about. And Doflamingo doesn't want much, all he needs is a spot from 7 warlords of the sea, and 5 elders can give it casually. 5 elders discussed internally, and immediately agreed to Doflamingo's conditions, but asked Doflamingo to return the Tianshengjian immediately, and not to make any moves against Tianshengjian in the future. After hanging up the bug, Doflamingo smiled even more happily. But at this moment, the voice he hated the most suddenly sounded. "Hey, Flamingo, you seem to be very happy. Shall I tell you the tragedy of Pika's death to make you happier?" Jolin led Bonez down slowly, with a smile on his face that could piss off Doflamingo. Sure enough, Doflamingo exploded with anger. Jolin, Jolin. You fool came here to die. I will kill you today. You come with Pika's life. As he spoke, he jumped directly towards Jolin. Jolin gave Bonez a free look, which immediately excited Bonez. Bonez couldn't hold back the fight with these guys just now, and it turned out that the Grand Line was different. The pirates he met were much stronger than West Blues. Now that we have met, how can we not fight? Master the cut. Bonez jumped directly to the nearest Gladius, his fingers turned into sharp knives and grabbed Gladius. Gladius didn't hesitate either. He directly punched and mastered the slash with his fist as big as a sandbag, and the explosive fruit ability was also activated, and the explosion forced both of them to take 2 steps back. Bonez is safe and sound, but Gladius' fist is bloody. Ideas are tricky. Seeing this, other cadres immediately surrounded Bonez. As for Jolin, seeing Doflamingo catch 5 color strings with a move, he simply punched him, only to hear a bang, and 5 color strings broke in response. The fist hit Doflamingo's paw, which actually knocked Doflamingo flying. Impossible. Why did you suddenly become so strong? Doflamingo couldn't help roaring. He felt a powerful armament hockey flowing into his body from his hand, crazily destroying the internal structure of his body. Armed color outside. He had only heard about it from black market intelligence, and hadn't learned it yet, but now this Jolin knows how. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.